A very good afternoon, Africa and the world. Welcome to the #1 sports show on the African continent, Africa at Play. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Also streaming live on YouTube. Also available everywhere for everyone, always on SABC+. We are together until 5 p.m. Central African Time. Happy Heritage Month. My name is Neto and Neto Chemane. Hosiati, Konyangazi, Momka, Japandle Gonjani, Moyani, Voko Dendele. Coming up on Africa at Play, national teams and football clubs often rely on well-known sport kit brands for outfit sponsorships as opposed to designing their own uniforms that can be beneficial to clubs or football associations through sales of merchandise to the fans. Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, implemented their own brand called Copa for national teams. However, with the change of management at FAZ, it is likely to return to traditional kit sponsors. Why can't football clubs and FAs design and produce their own training and playing gear to benefit from sales to fans? Here is Zambian sport analyst Wezi Mazunda.
They are comfortable with what they have because this needs to be a well thought out plan that you need to sit down and look at and see the benefits of how much revenue it's going to bring to your club. So maybe if some FAs and clubs sit down and weigh the costs, they feel they're more comfortable having dwell on kit sponsorships, maybe an outside kit sponsor that brings in revenue from there because of them wearing that label and being able to market it in the various leagues that they play and international matches and everything else. I'm sure it's a very costly venture. It's not something that you wake up and do, but it's something that you have to really sit down and plan properly.
That is our topic of the day, and you can drop us your thoughts via a WhatsApp voice note on the number +27 63 406 9126. Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Ouaddou is shifting focus to continental football as the Buccaneers begin their CAF Champions League campaign this afternoon, a week after winning the MTN 8 for the fourth consecutive time. Pirates face Diodi FC of Lesotho in a first-round preliminary first leg clash at the Toyota Stadium in Bloemfontein at 3 p.m. Central African Time. This is Diodi's home match, but it is being staged in South Africa since Lesotho does not have CAF-approved venues. Ouaddou is no stranger to this competition, having previously coached AS Vita in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Pirates mentor, say Ouaddou.
First of all, we cannot say that it's it's a team that we don't know and nobody knows. I think it's not good to say that. As long a team qualified the Champions League and they won the league in their country, we have to give a lot of respect. But for us, it's important game, very important game. We take it very seriously. We have prepared for that. My boys, my players are aware about that. We take it very and strongly seriously. It's a team that we have information and that we have studied. We know their weakness, we know their strength, and definitely we are going to play that game with a lot of ambitions and serious.
Also to expect on Africa at Play, Chiefs captain and Angolan international defender Inacio Miguel has also fond memories of growing up in his home country playing for Pedro. He shares some insight into what kind of team Kabuskop is and their historic in the Girabola, having also had notable guest players such as the Brazilian World Cup winning legend Rivaldo and Democratic Republic of Congo great Treso Mputu.
Yeah, so Cabos Corp in the previous years, back in the days, it was a massive club. Had big names on that club that could make a difference in the league. Most recently, they went to the second division, then they come back again in the past few seasons. I think specifically on this tournament, they for sure they will give their life to go further, but they will face a big team as Kaizer Chiefs that also have our ambitions and our goals to go further also. Yeah, I remember that when I was playing for Petro, they was telling me the story of Rivaldo, that he signed there. He was playing for Cabos Corp for 1 or 2 seasons. They also had Mputu from Congo. So they had big names. The president of Cabos Corp is still the same from back in the days. It's Bento Kangamba. It's a historical person in the country. Everybody knows him for what he does for sports in general, not only for football. So yeah, back in the days they were and they are a big team in Angola.
Saturday afternoons are sporting days, so let's update you on different sporting fixtures taking place on the African continent and globally. In the Women's Rugby World Cup, the 10th edition, it has reached the semi-final stage and action is currently underway in England. Yesterday, Canada defeated 6-time champions, the Black Ferns of New Zealand, by 34-19 to book a special ticket to the final. The second semi-final takes place this afternoon at 16:30 Central African Time, a match between France and the host nation, England. In the Currie Cup final, the Golden Lions are up against Griquas at 3 p.m. Central African Time at the Ellis Park Stadium in Johannesburg. In the ODI series, South Africa women versus Pakistan, South Africa triumphed by 25 runs through the DLS method yesterday. The women Proteas have won this series as they lead 2-0. The third and final ODI match is a dead rubber and it is slated for Monday the 22nd at 12:30 Central African Time. In the CAF Champions League first leg preliminary matches, JSK takes on Rivers United at 16:30 Central African Time. Bibiani Gold Stars is up against JS Kabile today at 1700 Central African Time. At the same time, at 1800 rather, Rahima will be up against Manga Sport, while Fasel will take on MC Alger of Algeria at 1800 Central African Time. Then at 1900, Gaborone United of our neighbors Botswana takes on Simba Sports Club of East Africa in Tanzania. Al Hilal Benghazi is up against Horoya at 19:30 Central African Time. El Jago Plus takes on Silver Strikers tomorrow at 12 midday, while Jamos Al Hilal is up against Al Hilal, and that match is also happening tomorrow at 1500 Central African Time. There is an exciting match that is also taking place at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium, which is Power Dynamos up against ASEC Mimosa 1995 finalists, a side that lost to Orlando Pirates by a 1-0 when Jerry Lex of Thunder's Kosana scored that sole goal to give the Buccaneers the Continental Star. 14:09 Central African Time. We take a short break. When we come back, we will touch base with Pamela from Zambia, who is the head of media for Power Dynamos, to talk to us about what to expect in this clash that is slated for 3 p.m. Central African Time. Do remember to get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1, and on Facebook, the name of our station, Channel Africa. We'll be back shortly.
The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
Just the other day, I went to pick up my daughter from school, and as per usual, her friends, they usually come to my car just to say hellos and goodbyes. So this particular day, they made this comment about my jacket, saying that it's giving baddie vibes.
You say my jacket is giving what?
It's giving
Baddie vibes.
baddie.
It got me thinking, where did the baddies come from? Because nothing is new under the sun, as it is said. I was like, oh yes, remember the Kenyan parliamentarian? Her name is Millie Odhiambo.
When you are urging me to be a good example to the girls, the younger ones who are doing their first term, Mr. Speaker, if they are good girls, they'll never get corner office. Be as bad as Millie Odhiambo, you will be the mother of this house. So do not be cheated like the African culture, where you are told have decorum, be nice. I'm telling you, you will go go nowhere. Be a bad girl like me.
And I thought to myself, that is the original Betty.
Saturday and Sunday mornings belong to the Morning Switch. 3 to 6 a.m. Central African Time. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:10 Central African Time. It is a big weekend of sport in football. CAF Champions League matches that took place earlier this week. Cote d'Ivoire went down by 2-0 against Stade d'Abidjan. That match took place on Tuesday. Then yesterday it was Daje up against Al Ahly Tripoli, playing to a boring 0-0 draw. Willette went down by 3-0 against Young Africans. African Stars who lost by a narrow 1-0 against Vipers of Uganda. Ethiopian Insurance is up against Mladenge today at 2 p.m. Central African Time. That match has been on for about 11 minutes. Mogadishu City takes on Police at 3 p.m. Central African Time. DODFC of Lesotho is up against Orlando Pirates of South Africa at 3 p.m. Central African Time. Power Dynamos down at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium is up against ASEC Mimosa, as we welcome Pamela Singala, who is the head of media at Power Dynamos. Pamela, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Thank you so much, Neto. Good afternoon to you.
Thank you so much. Let's talk about this big occasion. What does it mean to the Power fans? What can we expect from this encounter?
Well, Neto, this game means a lot to the Power Dynamos fans, and not only to the Power Dynamos fans, but to Zambia as a whole. Power Dynamos Football Club is a community-driven football club that is sponsored by Coppervault Energy Corporation, a company that is into power generation and distribution in Zambia and also on the African continent. So you can see that the community actually wants to see a positive outcome at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium today. So today we're expecting an exciting game of football. We have seen so many fans actually already coming into the stadium this afternoon. One of the biggest games has actually been postponed to tomorrow because we needed to focus all our energies and attention to this game today.
Are we looking forward to a sold-out affair?
Please come again.
I was saying, are we looking forward to a sold-out affair where fans will pack the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium, leaving no seats unattended?
Well, we're yet to see that. We're not so sure. Levi Mwanawasa Stadium is a big stadium, so we're just hoping that so many fans can actually come and support Power Dynamos Football Club, because this game is between Zambia and Ivory Coast, not ASEC Mimosas and Power Dynamos Football Club, but Zambia versus Ivory Coast.
I like that when all Zambians come for a good cause, including Nkana fans. I hope they are going to forget that they are arch rivals of Power 90 and support Power Dynamos so that the 3 points remains in Zambia. Let's talk about the ambience. You are already at the stadium. How's the ambience like?
Well, the atmosphere here is exciting. It's captivating. You can actually feel a sense of unity. As I stated earlier, this is Zambia versus Ivory Coast. So you can actually see the excitement, people dancing to power songs, people dancing to Zambian songs. So they're actually excited. There's so much excitement here at Levi Mwanawasa Stadium.
Power Dynamos, also known as Power 90, Pamela, is the reigning champions of the Zambian Super League, having won it in the 2024-2025 season. Pressure must be on the side. What are the plans for this CAF Champions League? Are you going all the way to win it, or you will just be happy with the continental experience, which will come in handy for the side to defend the title? Will you be able to defend your title successfully?
Well, despite Power Dynamos being a community-driven football club, I think there's so much emotions attached to it. So, and there's a lot of investment that goes into football management. So I'm not only going into CAF to experience what happens in CAF. I think if you remember very well, we were already there in 2013. We played against Simba Sports Club, and we also played against the other team from Namibia. So what we are saying is we're expecting to actually go all the way to the final. So at this particular stage, we want to go into the group stages. Then from there on, our plans are to proceed and reach the finals of the CAF Champions League.
If you have just joined us, we are talking to Pamela Singala, who is the head of media at Power Dynamos, the giants in Zambian football, the reigning champions that are up against ASEC Mimosa. If you remember ASEC Mimosa back in 1995, they were up against Orlando Pirates of South Africa in the final, losing that match by a narrow 1-0, where Jerry Lex of Thunder Skosana made the black and white nation and South Africa proud. Pamela, any injury worries on Power 90?
Well, I think we are solid as a team as it is. We're not worried about any injuries. I think most of our players are back from our national duty. So actually, I think we have a solid lineup. Our bench also looks solid. We do have our Kenyan strikers back. So we're not worried about any injuries at the moment. I think we do have a solid team. So even if we were to have any injuries, I think our team is actually ready to take on any issues that may arise during the course of the game.
Any special message to the Power 90 fans and football-loving community in Zambia to rally behind Power Dynamos today?
Well, it is a yellow affair today. It's Zambia versus Ivory Coast. Of course, Power Dynamos is representing Zambia. But my message to the Zambians, my message to the yellow fans is that let's fill Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. I know that most of them actually are still making their way into the stadium. So my encouragement is that let's support Power Dynamos Football Club. This is a crucial game. And of course, just I think in a few days to come, we will be traveling to Ivory Coast. So we expect that support home and away. Let's keep that yellow vibe. Let's keep that yellow enthusiasm as we watch Power Dynamos beat ASEC Mimosas today.
The ever-energetic Pamela Singala, the head of media at Power Dynamos, also known as Power 90, saying to the fans it is a yellow affair and looking forward to Power Dynamos beating West Africans ASEC Mimosa. And we say, may the best team win. Pamela, thank you so much for updating us with the latest on this upcoming clash. 1500 Central African time. The match will be kicking off at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium. All the best, Pamela. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Neto. Good day to you.
14:18 Central African time. That's how we wrap up our check-in at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola, where the Zambian Giants, Power Dynamos, will be taking on ASEC Mimosa, 1995 finalists, a side that lost by a narrow 1-0 win against Orlando Pirates. That's where you realize the power of one goal, provided you don't concede, rather. That's where Orlando Pirates got their first star of the Continental CAF Champions League. Let's also update you with the CAF Confederation Cup matches that are also taking place this season, and the matches kicked off the first preliminary round, leg 1 of 2 on Tuesday, where we witnessed Forest Stars beating 15 de Agosto by a goal to nil, and Waliata Dicha played to a 0-all draw against Al Ittihad, and that match took place yesterday. Aigel Royal went down by a narrow 1-0 win, 1-0 loss rather, against San Pedro. That match also took place yesterday. Another match that happened yesterday was Nijalek, that went down by a 1-0 loss to OC Safi. Then there's also USFA that beat Jablo Yusu by a goal to nil. Today we're expecting Al Ahly wa Medani up against AS Sahel, and that match is taking place at 3 p.m. Central African time. Another match taking place at the same time is Young Africans of East Africa in Tanzania up against Royal Leopards, and there's also Blue Center that is up against Al Aqda, and all these matches are taking place at the same time, 3 p.m. Central African time. Al Merrikh is up against Azam of Tanzania at 4 p.m. Central African time. FC 105 takes on Zesco United of Zambia at 5 p.m. Central African time. Zesco is playing away, while Power Dynamos in the CAF Champions League is playing on home soil. Another match in the CAF Confederation Cup at 5 p.m. Central African time is Kabuskop SCP of Angola up against Kaizer Chiefs, and Kaizer Chiefs is playing away, and this match it is at 5 p.m. There's also NEC up against Nairobi United of Kenya at 6 p.m. Central African time. Rayon Sports takes on Singida Black Stars at 1800 Central African time, while Bantal is up against Hafia at the same time. Then at 8 p.m. it is Stade Tunisien of Tunisia Tunisia up against AS Nîmes, and that match is at 8 p.m. Ferroviario de Maputo is up against Fanalamanga at 1500 Central African time tomorrow, and we will continue to update you on different matches that are taking place on the African continent and globally. And of course, there's also action in the Premier League. We will update you about matches in the Premier League after the short break.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Are you fluent in French, Chinyanja, Portuguese, and Kiswahili? Are you passionate about radio? And are you looking to work in South Africa? Do you have papers that qualify you to work in South Africa? In that case, we might have an opportunity for you to work for Channel Africa. Send us your CV and demo at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Remember, if you don't hear from us within 14 days, it means you have not made it or you have not been selected. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:22 Central African time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African time. Let's also update you about action in the Premier League in the United Kingdom. They say you'll never walk alone. They are walking away with 2 goals as it stands. It is halftime. These are the reigning champions, Liverpool, leading Everton by 2 goals to nil. Burnley will take on Nottingham Forest, the Tricky Trees, at 4 p.m. Central African time. Another match taking place at the same time is Brighton and Hove Albion taking on Tottenham Hotspur. And there's also West Ham up against Crystal Palace, as well as Wolves, Wolverhampton Wanderers taking on Leeds United, a side that Lucas Radebe from South Africa used to play for. There's also Manchester United up against Chelsea. This match it is at 18:30 Central African time. One of the big matches in football calendar today. Fulham takes on Brentford at 2100 Central African time. This is Africa at Play. Let's take a flight to East Africa and land in Kampala, where our correspondent Simon Boza is standing by to bring us up to speed with regards to all things Ugandan and East African sport.
The Uganda Premier League will kick off next week under a new format. Now, the format that divides the 16 league teams into 2 groups after the first round has been subjected to a debate in Kampala since it was announced 2 weeks ago, with critics saying it has reduced the league to a mere tournament. This is how the federation has explained how the new format will work.
The Uganda Premier League will have 3 rounds. Round 1. All 16 clubs, blue balls, play each other once. That's 15 matches per club. A table is drawn ranking clubs from 1st to 16th. Round 2. Top 8 clubs in Group 1, green balls, play each other home and away. 14 matches per club. Bottom 8 clubs in Group 2, red balls, play each other home and away. 14 matches per club. New tables are drawn for each group. Round 3. Top 6 clubs, Group 3, play each other once. 5 matches per club. Clubs in positions 7th to 8th and 9th to 10th play each other once. 3 matches per club. Bottom 6 clubs, Group 5, play each other once. 5 matches per club. For all the one-leg matches of Round 3, the teams that hosted in the Round 1 shall play away and vice versa in the corresponding fixtures. Final table standings. The final standings are based only on rounds 2 and 3. Points and goals from round 1 will not count. The final league table will be drawn by summing up goals in round 2 plus goals in round 3 to make total goals. Points in round 2 plus points in round 3 were equal to the total points. The table is structured as follows. First to 6th place will be Group 3, 7th to 10th place will be Group 4, 11th to 16th place will be Group 5. Champions and relegation. The club that is ranked in the first position in the final table standing shall be declared the First Division champions and the winner of the Uganda Premier League champion 2025-2026. The clubs that rank from the 1st to the 14th position in the final table standing shall be eligible for club licensing for the 2026-2027 First Division League. The club that is ranked in the 15th and 16th position in the final table standing shall be relegated and shall be eligible for club licensing for the 2026-2027 Second Division League.
FUFA President Moses Magogo explains the genesis of the idea and why he thinks it's the best for Uganda's football.
As a federation, over the last 4 years, we've been doing certain things behind the scenes. Those who might have followed, we had UEFA here and our cooperation and agreement with UEFA. It sent here consultants. They looked at the way we do our operations in all areas and they gave us a report. They told us we are very strong on governance, strong on reporting, but they told us we have challenges in the player development path and also the competitions. That is what trickled us to start on the technical master plan, which we have been engaging with the media and the general public and other people about. That technical master plan, when you look at it, it has 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is identification of talent. You must identify the talent through mass football. And we have started steps on that. The second one is development path, a deliberate development path, which we are building. And it will epitomize with the National Football Academy, which we want to open. The third one is if a player gets to 18, 19 years, we have realized that we lose a lot of talent at that age because eventually they don't get opportunities playing at clubs because they are competing, and some of them, before you notice, all the time you have spent, they get lost. So we have looked at club football and said we need to reorganize and re-engineer club football in this country to be able to absorb whatever is coming from the production line. Otherwise, you'll produce so many players and they have nowhere to go. Not everybody must go out of the country. For those who remain here must find an environment that allows them to develop and give us good football. And the fourth and last one in technical master plan is the life after playing. We are saying that can we be deliberate and see that the players or even referees who are retiring can be reabsorbed and the game takes advantage of their expertise and passion. That is what forms us to come up with the competitions reforms. They're just part of a big agenda. And the competitions reforms are not only in the Uganda Premier League, they are in all competitions. If you may not have followed, we have already done some changes in the lower league. We used to have up to league number 5, but now it has gone to league number 6. And we have already done this, circulars have been communicated, engagements have been done. We will still have the second division league, which we call the big league, the regional league, which we call the third league. But now we have introduced the fourth division league at the levels of the provinces. For those who follow the FUFA drum, we have geographical units at the level of provinces. So if I use Eastern region, there will be the Uganda Premier League we all know, and I can use the club like Bull that is from the Eastern region, but it plays in Division 1. Then you'll have the Division 2 that we all understand. There's a club like Kataka. Much as it comes from the Eastern region, it plays in the big league, which is the second division. And then the third division is the regional league. And that is played across the whole Eastern region. And the fourth division Soga will have its league, Buked will have its league, and Ugis will have its league. And then the 5th division will be at the district level, and the 6th division. And these ones, we want to make them as simpler to play, because our objective is not to find Indagamuntu at that level, because we have had challenges there. We want people to play, and then talent can be identified. So we are making the regulations there simpler. So these are reforms that have already taken place or are taking place. Now, when we come to the UPL, our objectives are different. This is the epitome league. And for any league to be successful, there are certain minimum constants that we must look at. A Premier League is a professional league. And for you to survive in a professional league, you need resources. The word resources is big. It means time, it needs money, it means people. You cannot succeed in a professional league without those three. The people where, the time, and the money. Because whatever you do there, you can only sustain it by paying for it. And you must be knowing, you must be the epitome. You must be the best that the country has in terms of playing, in terms of coaching, in terms of refereeing. It must be the most finite. So as a federation, in our wisdom, we decided to come up with some reforms. Because there's a Chinese saying that you cannot do something the same way and expect different results. We have been doing things the same way, and definitely we can't expect some different results. So the reforms in the UPL are very big. There are very many. We have decided to bring them in piecemeal as a communication strategy, because we did not want to overload you as the media, but also as the public. In the communication science, when you overload information, sometimes it gets lost. Then you're not communicating. So it has been strategic that we release, and we are still releasing more probable changes as we move on. If you look at the reforms that have been introduced, we have objectives. Our objectives are clear. We want to create competition. Because in the language of marketing, for those of you who have done marketing classes, there are 4 P's. And the first P is a product. If you don't create a product, there is no reason for me to part with my money from my pocket to buy. It's a simple science of marketing. You cannot just market your problems. Because you have problems at a club, that a sponsor will give you money. No. The sponsor must come to buy value for their business. So until we have created that value, and we have seen that sponsors world over, they want to go where there are people. Any competition in this country that has a bit of people, or any event, not even a competition, that has people, it has sponsorship. As simple as that. So until we have addressed the issue of making sure that we have people. And what do people go for? They go for product. You must create a product. Right now, the money you have in your pocket, the only reason you can part with it is because there is something you want, that your mind has been convinced that I want to have this. That's the reason why you part with your money. You would keep it until tomorrow. So until we create that desire and demand for people to part with their money, for people to come and associate with football, we cannot sell it. So to address the DNA, we must make sure that we have a product. And in sport and football particularly, the product is what you put on the pitch. How do we make sure that the product people are paying to pay or are yearning to pay to watch is worth the value? There must be competition. We are all football fans here. Fans want to see competition. The more competitive a football match is, the more fans that come. That is football. So we sat down and said, how can we make all matches competitive so that every match counts? And sincerely, when you look at the introductions we have done, you will notice that the objective is about competition.
Still in football, the Uganda women's under-20 football team defeated Namibia 3-0 in the first leg of the FIFA Under-20 Women World Cup qualifiers, played in Kampala on Friday evening. Now the two sides will face off again on Monday in the second leg, still in Kampala. Uganda's coach Cheryl Botts praised their girls after the game, as her counterpart of Namibia blamed the loss on poor officiation.
I think we're happy about the results, I must say. 3 goals, we were expecting more goals. That was the plan. Because we knew what the kind of football that Namibia was going to display today. But with women's football, with women, it's not always easy. First off, we struggled, and you could see that some players were very, very nervous to settle into the game. Players that played in the national team before, even they struggled.
Yes, Asha.
But I must add that we've got, in this team, 7 new players that's never played for the national team before. And I believe in bringing in youngsters, I believe in bringing in new faces into the team. And this is the players that we've got at this moment. I believe this is the players for the future, and that we've got to invest all our energy in and make sure that we succeed and qualify for the World Cup.
I'm not satisfied with the way our game was handled. I don't know until what or until when we will accept these mistakes from the referees. For me, it's very disappointing at this with the game of this magnitude. The referees do those such I don't know how to call it, such simple or silly mistakes in a game. We had an equalizer. Only the referee know how she disallowed it. For me, it's just poor refereeing. Other than that, we did okay. We just did some individual mistakes that cost us the game, apart from the refereeing. But I think the girls did okay. Then, sometimes these mistakes from the referees can break the momentum of a club or of a team. So basically, yeah, I don't have any words, but all I can say is I'm proud of my girls.
Away to cricket, the national men's T20 cricket team have arrived in Zimbabwe from South Africa, where they pitched camp for 1 week in preparation for the T20 World Cup qualifiers due to take place in Zimbabwe. Uganda played a series of build-up games in South Africa, where they won some and lost some, as coach Abel Sharma explains.
Yeah, we had a very good session, very good tour at preparatory tour in South Africa. Played 3 games, won 2 and lost to last one. But the last one I wanted batting unit to click better than what they've done. As far as Zimbabwe is concerned, we are 1 or 2 days early here, and that was the whole idea about it, to plan and to get used to of conditions and the temperatures here. And today's session was really nice. Boys were really energetic in the fielding session. We had a long fielding session, 3 stations, concentrating on catching, and then after that we had a team drill where we were concentrating on direct hit, and then we had a 3rd drill which was considered for chasing and pairs and throwing back to the keeper. So we tried and covered all 3 components of the fielding, and it was really nice, and boys really enjoyed it.
And in athletics, Uganda ended their World Athletics 2025 campaign in Tokyo empty-handed. The performance has been identified as the worst the country has registered in recent years. The country sent a team of 21 athletes to the Games in Japan, who were led by Olympic champion Peruth Chemtai. Meanwhile, as the country waits for the team to return home starting this weekend, 5 other athletes leave the country on Monday for Johannesburg, where they will compete in the ABSA Run Your City 10-kilometer event due on Wednesday next week. The ABSA-sponsored team was flagged off in Kampala, and they promised to carry the national flag high.
Over the last 2 years, we've had winners from the running that we had in March when we did the Kampala KH3 ABSA Run, 7 Hills Run. And today we are pleased that the dream that we promised, their participation in an international marathon in South Africa, the ABSA Radio City Series, we are pleased to flag off the runners this year, and we will have a total of 5 runners participating, and flying down to Joburg next week on 24th September. And this just goes to demonstrate that the run has far-reaching positive implications. Beyond the runners going to participate in the marathon, we have also, through the last 3 years of running this marathon, educated over 17,000 vulnerable girls, raised over 900 million, and this is really our effort to make a difference in the community in which we serve.
I think this is going to be like the first time I'm running in South Africa. I ran the City to City Marathon in 2023, which is actually happening next week on Sunday rather. And I find that whenever I go down south, the times are always better compared to when I run around home. So I'm anxious to really go and put my legs down for the 10K and see how I can perform.
And that is all we had time for from Kampala. My name is Sam Poza. Enjoy the rest of the show.
AUSISA, the Association of Water and Sanitation Institution of South Africa, is a platform uniting Africa's water professionals. This November, Africa leads the conversation on water and sanitation. Join global and African leaders at the AUSISA Africa and Global South Dialogue 2025 from the 9th till the 12th of November at the Emperor's Palace, Johannesburg. From policy innovation, this is where action meets collaboration for a water-secure future. Register today at ausisa-watersan-dialogue.org or follow at AUSISA on social media. AUSISA, working together for sustainable water and sanitation security in Africa. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:42 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play. A warm welcome if you have just joined us. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are in South Africa. Alternatively, you can connect with us from any corner of the world on channelafrica.co.za. Also available on SABC Plus. Also streaming live on YouTube. Let's update you on the Bundesliga matches. They say football as it's meant to be. Yesterday in match day 4, VfB Stuttgart beat FC St. Pauli by 2-0. FC Augsburg will be playing against FC Mainz at 15:30 Central African Time. Hoffenheim is up against reigning champions Bayern München at 15:30 Central African Time. Hamburger SV is up against Heidenheim at 15:30, while Werder is up against SC Freiburg also at 15:30 Central African Time. One more match happening at 18:30 is RB Leipzig up against Köln, and all these matches will be taking place, so you can look forward to those exciting fixtures in the German Bundesliga. It is nearly all over in Japan as the curtains came down at the 9-day World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. And over 2,000 athletes drawn from 200 nations, each battling it out for the coveted medals. African teams are there to showcase what they are capable of. Our UK-based sport correspondent, Gershom Sergignati, fittingly to be called Mr. Athletics, has seen it all and also spoke to South African team leader John Vester.
Thank you, Neto. I wish I was so great. What an accolade. Yes, the games have been dramatic. Athletes are demonstrating what they are made of, speed and endurance. Actually, breathtaking performances throughout. For interest, really, Kenya entered the largest on the continent with 58 competitors, followed by South Africa with 49, Ethiopia 37, Uganda 21, Nigeria 15, Botswana 12, Zimbabwe 8, just to mention a few countries. On the field of play so far, Kenya is the standout African team in Tokyo, collecting a total of 7 medals, 4 gold, 1 silver and 2 bronze, placing them second overall behind the USA and comfortably ahead of Canada in third with 3 gold medals. Let us bear in mind that the USA has numerical strength with a big team of 141 athletes. Kenya's female athletes have dominated, securing all 4 of the team's gold medals. Faith Cherotich in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, Faith Kipegoni in the 1,500 meters, Perez Jepcheshe in the marathon, and Dorcas Chebet in the 10,000 meters. Dorcas Ehoi added a silver in the 1,500 meters. On the men's side, Reynold Cheriot and Edmund Seremu and bronze in the 1500 and 3000 meter steeplechase. Elsewhere, Botswana impressed in the men's 400 meters final with 3 finalists. Colin Kebinatsipi, just 21 years old, beat them all to get the gold medal. His compatriot Bayapondori brilliantly snatched the bronze. Ethiopia, though not at their best this time, have 4 medals: silver for Yomif Kejalcha in the men's 10,000 meters, Tikisti Asefa in the women's marathon, and bronze for Sembo Alamayeo in the men's 3,000 meters and Guda for Tsegai in the women's 10,000 meters. Tanzania's Alfonso Simbu, that man again, has been relatively quiet. He won gold in the men's marathon. What a surprise, as he shocked almost everybody. Nigeria's Toby Amusani, the world record holder, and a silver medal in the women's 100-meter hurdles. She could have done better, but it was so close. Morocco's Sofiani El Bahali, a consistent global performer, won a silver medal in the men's 3,000 meters steeplechase. He is a man decorated with Olympics and World Championships medals in the past. With just a day to go, certainly more medals are yet to come Africa's way. And more so, as I spoke or had a conversation with South Africa's team leader, Jean Vester.
The World Athletics Championships in Tokyo will end on Sunday, and we still have quite a few exciting days left. Johanne du Plessis in the javelin is a contender for a medal. We also have 3 very young athletes in the women's shot put, one of very few countries who had 3 athletes to qualify in that event. Also Victor Hogan in the men's discus. And obviously the relays is very big events for South Africa. All our sprinters are ready for it, been training very hard. Tomorrow morning will be their last hard session with regards to exchanges, etc. And yeah, we're looking forward to a very good last few days. Some exciting performances through the championship so far. Quite a few finals made. Unfortunately, no medals yet, but very proud of the athletes who did so well and got into finals, and that is really good progress towards LA 2028, which is our main focus. And yeah, we'll see how the last few days goes, but all faith in our relays as well. Johanne looks good, and Dambile in the men's 200 final, also a nice step up for the youngster, and really good progress shown throughout our sprinters. And yeah, very proud of Zach Nene also with his 5th place tonight in the 400. But all in all, exciting few days left for Team South Africa. And as we said, a lot of progress made in a lot of events and some really good performances from our athletes. No medals yet, and hopefully we'll still get something before the closing ceremony on Sunday evening.
14:48 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome. This is Africa at Play. Should you miss out on any of our conversations, worry not. Do make time to visit our Channel Africa website. Click on Programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you can click on More to access those conversations. As we now welcome Kesham Sajinyati, our correspondent based in the United Kingdom, to fill us up with regards to the latest with when it comes to the World Athletics Championships currently underway in Tokyo, Japan. Saji, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Afternoon, Neto. It's quite exciting. I've just watched the women's 5,000 meters. What a race. The Kenyans have dominated again with Beatrice Chebet winning the race, followed by Faith Kipego, meaning to say they won the gold and silver medal, and bronze medal went to Adia Bartoletti, a dangerous athlete from Italia. She's ruthless, but she's a star. She's always sneaky between, and she got the bronze medal.
Kesham Sajinyati is our correspondent based in the United Kingdom. Saji, I've noticed that Olympics always dictate terms. You look at Team South Africa, a youthful team that is preparing for Los Angeles 2028. So you can't always go to events with your elite team because you must always be mindful of what's still coming up. Your impression?
Yes, Team South Africa that a youthful makeup. Most of the athletes, they are up and coming, and according to the team leader, John Vester, they are building up for the 2028 Olympics in the USA. And partly, I think it is true with in the 100 meters, Sinesipho Tambi, he did well, he qualified for the men's 100 meters finals. Yeah, that's some promising performances, but though it's a little bit sad enough, recently just now they were ready to qualify for the men's 4x100 meters final, but unfortunately, an Italian athlete who is more well known, Marcel Jacob, encroached or he stumbled into the lane where Sean Masangani of South Africa was running, and he pushed him out. So, South Africa, at the moment, is not through to tomorrow's finals. The results indicate South Africa did not finish. But there is obviously some procedures to be followed. I think they will appeal, maybe they will through. But on an interesting note, the men's 4x400 meters relay team is qualified for tomorrow's final, same as Botswana. Zambia also very well in the 4x4 from the start, but they committed some infringement and got disqualified. And Ghana qualified also for the final, and that was good for them. Yeah, so that's it. That's the makeup so far. South Africa is working hard to get the athletes ready for the 2028 Olympic Games in the USA.
14:52 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, we are talking to Kesham Sajinyati, our correspondent originally from Southern Africa in Zimbabwe, but currently based in the United Kingdom. Saji, please do stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll find out if Africa has impressed Kesham Sajinyati at the ongoing World Athletics Championships concluding tomorrow in Tokyo, Japan.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Tamo kutuli bwanji ndi
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. And join the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:54 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. As Delil Siashaya, we're wrapping up a conversation with our correspondent based in the United Kingdom, Kesham Sajinyati, talking about the ongoing World Athletics Championships currently underway in Tokyo, Japan, concluding tomorrow with the finals. Saji, has Africa overall impressed you so far?
Yes, some individual athletes, they've done very well. Botswana, for the first time, having 2 runners in the final of the 400 meters with 21-year-old Colin Kepinati winning gold, and his compatriot Bayapondori getting the bronze medal. But unfortunately, Teboho Letsile, who's actually their top runner, was expected to deliver the goods. He got disqualified in the first round of the 100 meters. That was a shame. And then he tried, He's the Olympic champion in the 200 meters, but it was not enough. He fell short. He didn't get a medal, but he's still in the race because Botswana have since qualified for tomorrow's 4x400 meters final, where they are the strongest. Ethiopia, as I've said earlier on, they have not performed to their usual standard, below par this time. I don't know why. The race which has just it's a guy, Goodaf, who actually dominated the previous games, winning medals in the 10,000 and 5,000 meters. She finished outside the medals table, which is a shame. Surely Ethiopia didn't do well. And just again, the other thing, Uganda is also a powerful country. Thought they were going to get some medals in distance events, but they didn't perform well. As you heard, Sam Posa was saying the team is likely to go back empty, which is not a good thing. Yeah, I think the point which I have to emphasize here is that, in distance events, some athletes from Europe and some Americans and things like that, they're coming very strong. And some of the athletes, they're actually from the African continent and they're running for other countries. So they're actually stopping the dominance of African runner in long track events, which is a bit of a drawback. I don't know whether things will change, but I think this is a big, big drawback for African athletes. So, yeah, that's one of those things, Neto, something has to be done to see that we really take care of our athletes and them to deliver the.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play, Sir G, and thanks for that update. All the best. May Africa continue to grab at those podium finishes.
Thank you, Neto. I'm just watching Joanne to be called Joanne Van Dyke. She's changed name now. She's a medal hope for South Africa in the women's javelin. She's an Olympic silver medalist. She's right now, hopefully, is going to deliver the goods. So we'll wait and see. But still, one day to go. There's still hope for African teams getting additional medals.
14:57 Central African Time. That's the voice of Gershom Sejinyati, the son of Southern Africa in Zimbabwe, currently based in Europe, in the United Kingdom, updating us with the ongoing World Athletics Championships currently underway in Japan, Tokyo rather, and will be concluding tomorrow. That's how we wrap up the first hour of Africa at Play. We also got to speak to Pamela Sangila from Zambia, who is the head of media for a team that will be playing against ASEC Mimosa, that's Power Dynamos, also known as Power 90, who are the reigning champions of the Zambian Super League. And we also got to hear from our Kampala-based correspondent, Sam Mpoza, updating us on all things Ugandan and East African sport. And that's how we say goodbye to the first hour, as we now relocate to the second hour of Africa at Play, where we will be talking to our teenager in sport, who is a tennis player, and a way to do so is to roll out a red carpet by a song called Victory Lap by AKA, may his soul rest in peace, AKA from South Africa, as well as the legend Cesaria Ivora saying Sange di Beirona, a song of 1997, a song that used to make a lot of us dance, and to this day it continues to do so. This is Africa at Play. Astelel Siashaya. Let's dance together.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
It's just missing something, It just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same without. Yeah, that's what it was. Now we the main attraction, they clap for us. Waiting on my downfall, ground floor up, that's elevator action. Michael Jackson, could it be as dangerous? Shit happens, on with a paintbrush, hope you get the picture. stick up. What your favorite rapper used to be before the bitches? But that's until we following their riches. Took it back to the kitchenette, like I got my truck or ad-libs in my dictionary. Big dreams in me ever since I was a beginner. So you gotta use the big screen when you picture me. Guinea big deal. See the times rotate like a windmill. And I will never lose focus. Cry me a river, swag jet per ocean. Motherfucker came a long way. Ones and twos up, Ivy League all day. That's on my, it's been a long way. Marathon, I ran this shit my own pace.
How many rappers in the world right now? Ain't it that one of them do it like I? Never get enough, never get enough, never too much.
Victory.
Hands up on my victory lap. Hands up on my victory lap.
Toast to the winner.
Hands up on my victory lap. Hands up on my victory lap.
If you know you a winner. Party don't stop till I say so. Want it all from the ground floor to my angels. Daddy Cool Diesel. Heavyweight champ of the people. Future look bright like a casino. Water that seed to my tree girl. Root of all evil. Spare no ego. I keep haters on their toes like the Les does. Blowing notes like my name Gwella Debza. You in the cloud backing all famous. Nobody even know what your name is. Penny bottles but nobody's at your table. These motherfuckers like somebody agents. Party like I'm a truck star. Tell a girl jumping low like a sports car. I'm the king. Who these jokers in my courtyard? Money talks, I converse with the all-star. So you all about the paper. Tell me something new, tell me something entertaining. Tell me something true, tell me nothing about failure. Serving rappers on some 24-hour-a-day shit.
How many rappers in the world right now? Ain't it that one of them do it like I? Never get enough, never get enough, never too much.
Victory.
Hands up on my victory lap. Hands up on my victory lap.
Toast to the winner.
Hands up on my victory lap. Hands up on my victory lap.
If you know you a winner. Give me that old time feeling. German automobile with no ceiling. Push the button and start with no key ring. Bad chicken up blunt with no seedlings. You can still have what you want if you a dreamer. Start thinking out the box or follow the leader. I know you been through that. Feel like end of the season when your team do bad. But all I really need is a clean new pair. Somebody on my arm and some money in my hand. I'll be good. You see the hunger in my eyelids. Whether we born or checking the prices.
How many rappers in the world right now? Ain't it that one of them do it like I? Never get enough, never get enough, never too much.
Victory.
Hands up on my victory lap. Hands up on my victory lap.
Toast to the winner.
Hands up on my victory lap. Hands up on my victory lap.
If you know you a winner.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto.
Nesse sol, tava apanhando lá na fundiladeira. Quem quer saber, sangueiro nesse sol, tava apanhando lá na fundiladeira. Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona. Sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Se vou cochar lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa é que faz escoladeira. Se vou cochar lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa é que faz escoladeira. Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona, Sangue Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa aí que faz escoladeira. Se bocochar lá na fundiladeira, bota culpa aí que faz escoladeira. Santi Verona, Santi Verona, Santi Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Santi Verona, Santi Verona, Santi Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Santi Verona, Santi Verona, Santi Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Santi Verona, Santi Verona, Santi Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Santi Verona, Santi Verona, Santi Verona, ele sabe, ele doce. Santi Verona, Santi Verona.
15:06 Central African Time. You can never say no to good music. This is Africa at Play. Thank you for tuning in. Match day 4 in the Italian Serie A matches are as follows. Lecce went down by 2-0 against Cagliari yesterday, and today there's a match that is currently underway. Bologna up against Genoa, and it's currently 0-0. Today at 1800 Central African Time, Verona takes on the black and white Juventus, and Udinese is up against Milan at 20:45. Lazio takes on Roma tomorrow at 12:30, while Torino is up against Atalanta. That match is also tomorrow at 3 p.m. Another match taking place at the same time is Cremonese up against Parma, together with Fiorentina up against Como. At that match, it is at 1800 Central African Time. It is time for our teenager in sport, Ororisen Sibanyoni, a 14-year-old girl who is one of the special ones that got scholarships through tennis to be part of the top academy where Lloyd Harris resides, at the Anthony Harris Tennis Academy. In the Hammanskraal Tennis Club Awards ceremony in 2024, Ororiseng won the academic achievement categories, Ororiseng being the high school top academic achiever of the year. Let's now welcome our teenager in sport, Ororiseng Sibanyoni.
Exclusive to Africa at Play on Channel Africa. Teenagers in Sports with Neto Chemane.
Ororiseng, good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much. Talk to us about your journey in tennis. When did you start holding a tennis racket, trying out your luck on the court?
I started it in 2022 when my friends influenced me to start playing tennis.
And how do you feel looking at 2022, fast track to 2025? You are now part of the special group, the talented ones in junior tennis in South Africa, being part of the Lloyd Harris Tennis Academy.
I feel good and excited at the same time.
How did it come about that you got chosen to be part of this academy?
Because I have commitment in playing tennis.
And what do you love so much about the sport of tennis?
I love it's a fun sport and you can make friends there.
Is it? Who are some of the tennis players that you enjoy playing against? Ororiseng?
Pedal. Yes.
15:09 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, we are talking to our teenager in sport, Ororisen Sibanyoni, a 14-year-old tennis player who is part of the Lloyd Harris Tennis Academy. Ororisen, please do stay on the line. We take a short break. We will wrap up our conversation with our teenager in sport after the short break.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Exclusive to Africa at Play on Channel Africa. Teenagers in Sports with Neto Chemane.
15:10 Central African Time. A warm welcome to Africa at Play. If you have just joined us, we are wrapping up a Teenager in Sport conversation where we are talking tennis development with Ororisen Sibanyoni, a 14-year-old who is part of the Lloyd Harris Tennis Academy. Ororisen, thank you for staying on the line. Any professional tennis player that you look up to?
Coco Gauff.
Why Coco Gauff?
Because she plays well and I love her commitment.
Interesting indeed. And what are your future plans if you make it into the professional setup of tennis? Where would you like to see yourself play?
ATP or Wimbledon or at Grand Prix and many other different categories.
You are also doing well at school, and you also got to be an Achiever of the Year at the Hammanskraal Tennis Awards that took place in 2024. Talk to us about your education as it stands. What grade are you in, and what's your favorite subject?
I'm in grade 9, and my favorite subject is English.
Your favorite subject is English. Any favorite English word?
Nice.
Nice. Keeping it nice and easy, Ororisen Sibanyoni. And Ororisen, how's life at the Lloyd Harris Tennis Academy? Are you enjoying?
Yes.
What do you like so much about being part of this academy? What's so exciting there?
It's a open space and it has sports.
Have you had an opportunity to meet the legendary tennis sensation, Lloyd Harris?
No.
Not yet. And when you meet Lloyd Harris, what are you going to say to Lloyd Harris?
I would be grateful to meet her.
Lovely stuff. Ororisen, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Have a good afternoon further.
Thank you. Bye.
15:12 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our conversation with Ororisen Sibanyoni, who is a tennis player, part of the Lloyd Harris Tennis Academy. And these academies are of paramount significance because this is where you learn and master the basics of the sport. And by the time you graduate to the elite level, you are a complete player. And we wish her nothing but the best, together with all the kids that are in different academies, not just tennis, but different sporting codes as well. We will be talking to the advocate Kwababana, who is the deputy president of the South African National Amateur Boxing Organization, SANABO, to talk to us about their partnership with the Russian Boxing Federation. They recently took part in the Eurasian Tawaria Cup in Chita, Russia, from September the 14th from the September the 7th rather, and concluded on September the 14th. And we're looking forward to that exciting conversation. Stay tuned to Africa at Play.
Africa at Play with Neto Chemane. Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K,
or more of our forests have been destroyed. Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. And Join the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto, Neto Chemane.
15:15 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. Action continues in the Premier League, where we're witnessing a match between Liverpool and Everton. Liverpool leading Everton by 2-1. That match has been played for 88 minutes and it can conclude any moment from now on. We've got Burnley up against Nottingham Forest at 4 p.m. Central African Time, together with Brighton and Hove Albion, also known as Brighton, taking on Tottenham Hotspur, also at 4 p.m. And West Ham will be up against Crystal Palace at 4 p.m. Central African Time. Wolverhampton Wanderers takes on Leeds United at the same time. Later today, it is Manchester United, the Red Devils, who went down to Manchester City in the Manchester Derby. They will be taking on Chelsea and they're looking forward to redeem themselves at Old Trafford, while the Blues want to continue causing an upset additional to Man United's loss against Manchester City in the Manchester Derby. And tomorrow action continues. Sunderland takes on Aston Villa, while AFC Bournemouth is up against Newcastle, and those matches are at 3 p.m. Central African Time. Another big one tomorrow, it is Arsenal, the Gunners of London, up against Manchester City, and that match is slated for 17:30 Central African Time. Let's now welcome to Africa at Play a man who's devoted his life to the sport of boxing, Advocate Gwababana, who is the Deputy President of the South African National Amateur Boxing Organization, SANABO. Mr. Gwababana, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Good afternoon, Neto, and good afternoon to your viewers and listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you back on Africa at Play, and it's also heartwarming to see that you are not sleeping on duty, but there's work that's happening behind the scenes. Let's talk about your partnership with the Boxing Federation of Russia. This is good news to the African continent because we want to see boxing making it to the highest possible bar.
Yes. It's actually exciting times for SANABO, given the fact that we have new elected individuals within the executive of SANABO. That includes myself actually going for the second time. First time, you'll remember that I was the vice president, but I could not actually finish the first term for various reasons. And one of those reasons is that we wanted to see SANABO where it is today, maybe not 100% where it is, but the direction that we're taking is actually going to get us to the next level where boxing will be the winner, where our athletes will be the first priority within our strategies, and getting closer and returning South Africa to the world stage. And we have started that already.
It's also good, Advocate Gwababana, to realize that boxing is not just taking or giving attention at an elite level, but even at an amateur level through SANABO, things are happening. Talk to us about the new committee that is now taking the sport of amateur boxing to another level. Who are some of these committee members? Are you aligned? Because it's one thing having a committee, but it's another thing if you are going to take different directions.
Thanks a lot, Neto. And you will remember, Neto, that the issue of having a structure is actually a democratical process. So how we're getting elected is actually from the provinces, is the provinces that can see that who is the capable person that they want to represent them and to represent the objectives or to take care of the objectives of the organization. So we have few individuals that were actually introduced. We retained the president, and then we retained the Secretary General as well, because they've done a great job. We've retained the PRO, and then there was a new. There's a new. The newbies is actually, would say, myself, even though I'm not so new. We have Ms. Fas, who's the Vice Secretary General, and then we have a new Treasurer General Mashimo from the Northwest, and then we have then we have the PRO. So the PRO is not so new, but what we've done now is to say we have seen the other expertise that one can actually can bring in terms of contribution within the organization, and each and every individual that has been added now on the executive has a different role, and more importantly, they have the capacity to take the organization or to contribute on the success of the organization. So that's where we are in terms of the new structure. And there's I would say there's actually a new energy. New energies have been introduced in the executive, and we could not actually wait so long. And we started to have resolutions that were taken, and we're actioning resolutions that were taken in our AGM and the council meeting.
If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. The conversation continues under the umbrella of amateur boxing in South Africa and Africa. We are talking to Advocate Kwababana, who is a member of Sanabo, and filling us up on the latest developments. Advocate Kwababana, please do stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, we're going to find out more about the partnership between Sanabo and the Boxing Federation of Russia. This is Africa at Play.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
15:22 Central African Time. A warm welcome to Africa at Play. We still have Advocate Kwababana talking all things the Sanabo matters, South African National Amateur Boxing Organization in South Africa, and their partnership with the Russian Boxing Federation. Advocate Kwababana, talk to us more about this partnership with the Russian Boxing Federation. How did it come about? You took part in the Eurasian Dauria Cup in Chita, Russia from September the 7th to the 14th. It's not so long ago.
Thank you, Neto. I need to actually bring across this issue. The relationship that we have currently, it's a relationship that was established by Mr. Mkwado, the president of South African National Open Boxing Organization, Sanabo. He started these talks about 2 years ago. And the intention has always been, we wanted to actually get to the world stage. So through his talks with the Russian Federation and our relationship as South Africa with Russia, it became easy for us to actually get that kind of opportunity. Now, these opportunities are not only arrested or fixed within the competition per se. There were already opportunities that were provided by Russia to say, South Africa, you can actually bring boxers that will stay and study in Russia for free. In that way, we are actually trying to assist you in bringing about a well-rounded athlete. So those athletes would have stayed in Russia, studied in Russia, and then they would come back from time to time to see their families. But more importantly, they would have been receiving high-quality participation internationally. This one is one of the strategies, one of the opportunities that are there, as per the agreement that Mr. Mkwalo, the president of South African Boxing Organization, has actually entered to. So this is one of them. There is many to come. We're going to be participating in such tournaments. It boils down well with us because one would understand that if one needs to really qualify for big major games, your Olympics and Commonwealth, or to do even well on those, we need to expose our boxers into better quality, and this is one of them. It's even better that we're going to be introducing these boxers at that level at an early age. For example, our boxer now, Ayabonga Meko, has competed very, very well, and it told us a lot about South African development. From time to time, we actually doubted ourselves. But what he displayed, it shows that at least at the elementary level, we are on the right track. We just need to get more opportunities to get our boxers to understand that they have what it takes to participate and dominate and win high competitions like the one Ayabonga Meko participated and won.
And talking about Meko Ayabonga's awesome participation, what about Wanga Oyisa? How was Wanga Oyisa's performance?
I am sorry, Neto, not to actually highlight. Wanga Oyisa also actually impressed us. Now you'll understand that these boys, they actually fought against Russia, against Uzbekistan, against Cuba. Now, the moment I actually make mention of such names, you will understand that they have a very rich history of boxing. Their boxing development is at the highest level. So he also contributed to our notion that we newly just received in our minds right now, to say South Africa is not very far from actually producing even an Olympian that will actually win a gold medal again. You know, we have had some medals that we won in the past. Definitely, it can happen again. It can happen again. So Wanga Oyisa also produced, and with the amount of experience that he gained, I'm very confident that coming next time, he will actually participate and actually give his all to win a medal for South Africa internationally. So that is not forgotten. It can never go unnoticed what he's done. And we are hoping that they will actually translate the same again and dominate Africa. But mine, personally, I want to see these boys at the Olympics 2028.
And talking about Olympics 2028, is it a done deal now to have boxing back at the Olympics? Because we've experienced some drought when it comes to boxing Olympics, and one is always looking at the African continent being able to showcase their skills and talent at that level of the games, because it's multiple sporting codes and it comes across as the biggest multiple sporting code event, Olympics. And Los Angeles 2028 is actually not far away from us.
Definitely, Neto, not far away. Hence now, Sanabo has decided to actually come up with a strategy that is fixed at qualifying for Olympics 2028, and then for the next Olympics in Brisbane, we are looking at least bringing a medal. So our strategy is actually speaking exactly to those kind of objectives. Yes, we can confirm to you that boxing will be available for the next Olympics under the World Boxing. There's a new federation called World Boxing. It's no longer IBA that will be responsible. That has been confirmed. Now, for South Africa, for us to be able to qualify our boxers or to even participate within the qualification stages, we're going to be making an application. In fact, it's already in process. But it starts with our mother body, which is IBA, and then we're going to be putting an affiliation request to World Boxing. That being said, we'll be able now to participate in those tournaments that would have been identified as the qualification stages for the Olympics by the IOC under the auspices of the World Boxing. Now, one will understand that the qualification through to the Olympics is via Africa. Now, we are well placed as Sanabo to say our boxers will do the participation at high level from the Zone 4 to African Championships at youth level to SADC Games, and also to multi-coded sport games within Africa. In that way, our boxers will be exposed against the boxers that at some point they will need to qualify against. So we are actually on the right track. I'm very excited with that. And I'm more confident that our strategies are actually starting to align currently.
That's the voice of Advocate Kwababana, Deputy President of the South African National Amateur Boxing Organization, Sanabo, talking to us about all things amateur boxing on the African continent and global opportunities. Advocate, as we say goodbye, I know you are a former boxer yourself, but today you are an advocate. Did you give up the boxing gloves to go and become an advocate?
Neto, it's difficult to actually even say that giving up boxing gloves is something that one can never do, really, because even if you're asleep, you'll be dreaming about boxing, because that's a sporting code that I realized, and I became a better person utilizing it. I'm an advocate today because of boxing. I did not actually have enough to actually be able to study, but due to the assistance that I would get at varsity, it was due to the fact that I got some sort of a half a bursary. The only thing that I had to do was to box, and then do my studies well. Hence, I decided that after I'm done with my studies, I will actually operate professionally. However, I will always be within open boxing, and I don't have any aspirations to go to the professional leg, or side of boxing. But amateur, it's where I am. Open boxing is where I am. And I'll reconsider that at some point. But at this point, I'm boxing, I'm open boxing, and I'm boxing.
There you have it from Advocate Kwababana. Advocate, thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play, and thank you to the rest of the committee for the good work that you are doing, especially the president's work, having established a relationship with the Russian Boxing Federation 2 years ago. And this goes to show that prior proper planning prevents a poor, pitiful performance, because people wake up and they expect things to happen at the snap of their fingers, and that's not how it works. Thank you so much for your contribution. 15:30 Central African Time, and that's how we wrap up our conversation with Advocate Kwababana, who is the Sanabo Deputy President, that is the South African National Amateur Boxing Organization based in Southern Africa, South Africa. If you are a Power Dynamos fan, you will be happy to hear that Power Dynamos is leading ASEC Mimosa by 1-0. A goal scored by Innocent Kashita on the 7th minute of this contest, and this goes to show that they are meaning business. They want to triumph on home soil, so that when they travel to West Africa, they travel with an advantage. This is Africa at Play. As Delil Siashaya, do get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1, and on Facebook, the name of our station, Channel Africa. Also visit the Channel Africa website, click on programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you click on more to access all those important conversations, and by all means, you can listen to them at your time of leisure. Let's remind you on our topic of the day: national teams and football clubs often rely on well-known sport kit brands for outfit sponsorships, as opposed to designing their own uniforms that can be beneficial to clubs or football associations through sales of merchandise to the fans. Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, implemented their own brand called Copa for the national teams. However, with the change of management, FAZ is likely to return to traditional kit sponsors. The question we are asking is, why can't football clubs and football associations design and produce their own training and playing gear to benefit from sales to fans? You can drop us your thoughts on our WhatsApp number +27 63 406 9126.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
I don't need nothing from you. Your beautiful heart is the muse. I've been reckless with my choices. Can't seem to get what the point is. Life can be rough, can be smooth, and not every fact is the truth. Advancing, I've laid down my burdens. Can't seem to silence the voices. Oh, in this setting, I be that person. We go be your shoulder, body, best in anything. Your type, no many, they are not ready. I go give you 100%, never no 90. More than amazing, well quality. You are deserving of the love you are not getting. Independently, I'll take the liberty, and I go love you specially. Oh, all the love, all the care, then they fake out. Don't be hard, baby, give it. I go love you. All the love, all the care, then they fake out. Don't be hard, baby, give it. I go love you. Them go wonder why you so colorful. Them go wonder because the melodies for my chest. Cannot get the hold of myself. Yeah, yeah. I dey hope say you dey feel the same way. I've been low, the money no fit in me. You be cold, we dancing no Saturday. Many tales to tell. Oh, in this setting, I be that person. We go be your shoulder, body, best in anything. Your type, no many, they are not ready. I go give you 100%, never no 90. More than amazing, well quality. You are deserving of the love you are not getting. Independently, I'll take the liberty, and I go love you specially. Oh, all the love, all the care, then they fake out. Don't be hard, baby, give it. I go love you. Don't be hard, baby, giving. I gon' love you. Oh, until this setting, I'll be that person. We gon' be your shoulder, body, best in anything. Your type, no many, we are not ready. I gon' give you 100%, never no 90. More than amazing, well quality. You are deserving of the love you are not getting. Independently, I'll take the liberty, and I gon' love you specially. Oh, all the love, all the care, them they fake out. Don't be hard, baby, give it. I go love you. All the love, all the care, then they fake out. Don't be hard, baby, give it.
You can tell with the sound of the song that it speaks about love. The song is titled All the Love by Ira Star. And we also played you Malik featuring Ringo. And that song is titled Mtulise. Thank you so much for choosing Africa at Play. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome. Let's now take a flight to West Africa and land in Lagos, Nigeria for the latest in Nigerian sport.
Nigeria Super Eagles have been handed a potential lifeline in their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying campaign after World Football Governing Body FIFA officially charged South Africa for fielding ineligible midfielder Teboho Mokoena in their Group C clash with Lesotho in March. In a letter dated 15 September 2025, FIFA confirmed to the South African Football Association SAFA that both the Federation and Mokoena face charges of breaching disciplinary regulations. The case has been referred to the FIFA Disciplinary Committee, with SAFA given 6 days to respond, and indeed that brings a lot of excitement to Nigerian soccer fans. The development follows weeks of media outcry after FIFA initially overlooked the incident, despite similar cases in Africa, including Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, and Cape Verde, being met with forfeitures, points deductions, and fines. If South Africa are found guilty, the Group C table will be reshaped in Nigeria's favor. One Benin Republic would move level with South Africa on 14 points, though Bafana will hold only a slender goal difference edge +5 to their own +4. Nigeria, currently trailing, would be within touching distance of the leading pair, reviving hopes of catching up in the final rounds. Lesotho will benefit with 3 extra points, but remain outside the qualification race. It's an anxious moment for South Africa fans but one filled with hope for Nigeria and Benin in their quest to qualify. With the possibility of South Africa losing points, Nigeria could find their pathway to the 2026 World Cup more attainable. Analysts suggest that the disciplinary outcome could inject fresh motivation into the Super Eagles camp as they prepare for their remaining qualifiers. The FIFA disciplinary committee's ruling, expected soon, could therefore prove pivotal for not just for South Africa, but for Nigeria's dream of returning to the global stage in 2026. Chairman National Sports Commission Shehu Diko says the future of Super Eagles gaffer Eric Chell will be decided by the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF). The former Nigeria Premier League and PFL boards said the Sports Commission won't call for Chell's sack, but will look at NFF's recommendations before a final decision. As for Eric Chell, it is the responsibility of the Nigeria Football Federation to decide that at the end of the day. After they sit, they will look at the analysis and we will look at it to either approve or disapprove, he said. Commenting on Nigeria's hope of qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Diko maintained that Nigeria's chances now hang in the balance, given Super Eagles' position on the table, emphasizing that the Commission is left with no other option than to wait and hope for a miracle. As for the World Cup, we all know where we are. When we came on board, we only had 3 points out of 12. The Commission and the NFF put their heads together, and now we have 8 points in the last 4 games. If we had gotten these points, we would have been talking of qualifying for the World Cup. At this moment, we have to be factual about it. Based on the number, it is basically out of our hands. We just have to win our games and see where that will take us. But we are still hopeful because it's football and someone will lose and anything can happen. Factually, it is not in our hands and we just have to keep doing what we have to do by supporting the team, he said. Nigeria saw their hopes of qualifying for the FIFA World Cup get even dimmer with 1-1 draw against South Africa's Bafana in Bloemfontein. Defender Calvin Bassett, playing at left back, climbed high to level scores after Captain William Trusekon had poked in an own goal to give Bafana the lead. Shehu Diko speaks.
The Nigerian Football Federation to decide at the end of the day, after they finish, they'll do the analysis, again they will recommend to us, and then we look at it, we approve or we disapprove or we engage to do that. As for the World Cup, we all know where we are. When we came on board, we only have 3 points out of 12, but now we are able, at least with Eric Chell, the NFF, we put ourselves together and make sure that we pull. Now we've got 8 points in another 4 games. If we have got this result before, probably we could have been now trying to qualify to the World Cup. But at this moment, we have to be fair and factual about it. Based on the numbers, it's out of our hands. So we just have to win our next 2 games. We have to just win our next 2 games and see where that will take us. But we are still hopeful because of football. 2 games of football is a long distance. Anything can happen. But factually, it's not in our hands. But we just have to keep winning.
World record holder Tobi Amuso said she carried the weight of Nigeria on her shoulders as she raced to the silver medal in the women's 100 meters hurdles final at the Tokyo 2025 World Championships. Amusa clocked 12.29 seconds to finish behind Switzerland's Ditaji Kambuji, who set a national record of 12.24 seconds to claim gold, while America's Greg Stark took bronze in 12.34 seconds. The Nigeria who won gold in Eugene in 2022 acknowledged the enormous pressure of national expectation. They said her mission extended beyond personal glory. I put the whole country on my back, but this is bigger than me. It's a mission first for Nigeria and for the world, but I also do it for myself. I'm just glad that every time I come out to a championship, win or lose, I still show up, and I'm thankful for that. She also explained that the disappointment of finishing 4th when the Olympics last held in Tokyo 4 years ago remained a heavy burden on her mind until the final day. I remember in 2021, I came here and I came 4th, Amusa said in her post-race interview. The moment I heard the World Championship was going to be held here, I had a post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, but then I had to snap out of it, and I told myself I'm not leaving here without the gold medal. I don't know, but I'll take the silver. Amusa described the last few years as a rough journey where setbacks had outweighed victories, but she created a system for keeping her grounded. I've taken more losses than wins, and I'm just thankful that I have a great support system, my coach, my family, my mentors, my loved ones, and my fans. Toby Amusa speaks.
Number 21, I came here and I came forth. The moment I heard World Championship is going to be kept here, I had a PTSD. But then I had to snap out of it and I told myself I'm not going to be here without the gold medal. I don't know whether I'll take a piece of it. Yeah. I mean, it's been good. The journey has been extremely rough. I've taken more L's than wins. I mean, look at the kind of lineup we have in the women's sort of, it's anybody's race. I kept saying to myself, not of the script, but it's of a brother showing mercy, and I kept asking for mercy all day because I worked really hard and I deserved it. And I'm just thankful that I didn't leave here with no medal again this year. I'm just thankful that I have a great support system, my coach, my family, my mentors, my loved ones, my sons. And I'm just out here, going to training, competing, and this is for everyone. This is for everyone to support me.
And former Nigeria's athlete Deji Aliu has held the 100 meters hurdle World Cup world record holder Toby Amusa, despite coming short of expectation in the final of the women's 100 meters hurdles event at the ongoing World Athletics Championship. Aliu blamed the AFN officials for their amateurish behavior of exchanging weights with her before her event and said that attitude smacks of ignorance. Deji Aliu speaks.
Everything Toby, she did very well. I'm not surprised. So I'll say a big congratulations to her. And, regarding the AFN and all the brouhaha, I think it's a very, very shameful situation. But I'm so impressed that Toby was able to put that behind her and just take care of business. I think that's what the professional should do at this stage. You can imagine, if we have people that are more proactive, even if Toby is complaining, before our event, they should not even be, bouncing words with her. She has a big event ahead and they are going back and forth. This business, this, that. It's so shameful and annoying, but I just feel this people can just sit down and put on their thinking cap, and if they can give our athlete the best, obviously we will be celebrating as far as I can see is concerned in Nigeria, but I just hope and wish we do the right thing so that we'll be able to expect or get the best from our athletes.
Also, former technical director of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, AFN, Sunday Adeleye, blamed the Athletics Federation officials for engaging Amusa and thereby creating a distraction before her final race in the World Championships. He said the issue of keys and the response of the Federation that they bought her first-class flight ticket was unnecessary and distractive. Sunday Adeleye speaks.
Said that. What I expect the Federation to do is to come up and make their case, not coming up to say, yes, we bought her first-class ticket. What would you have gotten for her? Would you have put her on a boat or on a bike to take her to Tokyo? She's a world record holder, the only world record we have in Nigeria, and she should be celebrated and treated. So I never expected the Federation to go at her, and then of course that would have been another distraction. That would have been another kind of letdown. So I think the Federation should learn how to control, how to approach the athletes when they get to compete for us at the global stage. You have to manage them, you have to pet them, you have to pamper them. But thank God for the chairman, Sports Commission came in. You can imagine how he spoke. Even if she had had that where she is, she will be proud that someone is talking to her. But we thank God, at least she got the silver medal, which is good for us.
Zamfara State Athletics Chairman Gara Gombe also joined, describing the whole attitude of Athletics Federation of Nigeria nonsensical. Gara Gombe speaks.
And I think for Toby to come out to say anything, this is a woman who has given Nigeria almost everything we need in the international platform. She has put us in the map of the global sports world, and if we are really serious people, we could have even used Obi as an ambassador. So for her to come out and complain, it is really a sad situation this is for us. Toby has the right to complain, and for this lady to complain, that means it's so painful. And look at the nonsensical response from the AFN saying that the kids are coming in batches. And look at the nonsensical kids. It's embarrassing to Nigeria. And it's not the first time. Athletes have been complaining every time, but we do not care. Imagine what happened in France to Hugo. And when inquiry was formed and the report was ready, it was made public, and some people were indicted. But you find these people still coming back, and they are the ones still running Nigerian athletics.
The Super Eagles have slipped to 45th in the latest FIFA Men's World Ranking, their lowest position in over 6 years, according to figures released by World Football Governing Body, FIFA. Despite remaining unbeaten in recent outings, Nigeria's ranking points were not enough to maintain their previous position. The team also sits 6th on the African continent, behind Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Algeria, and Cote d'Ivoire. The decline highlights both the fierce competition within Africa and the importance of securing victories in high-value matches such as World Cup qualifiers. The ranking could affect Nigeria's seeding in future tournaments, potentially drawing the Super Eagles against tougher opponents in qualification campaigns. Former Nigerian international Yakubu Ayebeni has rose in defense of Captain William Trusekong after his unfortunate own goal against Bafana Bafana in their 1-1 draw in the World Cup qualifiers. Nigeria went into the encounter needing a win to keep their qualification hopes alive. They were dealt an early blow when defender Olaino limped off in the 8th minute. Matters worsened in the 25th minute when Trusekong put the ball into his own net, giving Bafana Bafana the lead. Fulham defender Calvin Bassey restored parity just before the break with a powerful header, but despite enjoying more of the ball in the second half, the Super Eagles failed to turn dominance into goals. Nigerian soccer fans have since called out Ekong for the reason the Eagles will not go to the World Cup. But Ayebeni would not have any of that. We Nigerians are waiting to put the blame on 1 or 2 players. Is Ekong the only reason we are not going to the World Cup? Ayebeni asks. Yakubu Ayebeni speaks.
Everyone they're talking about the captain, Ekong. He scored own goal. So what? He meant to score that goal. It happens. We Nigerians, we have to understand we are waiting to put blame on players, 1 player or 2 players. Or it's because of this guy will not qualify for World Cup. But being that pain, missing goals, I'm upset. I get insult. This boy, Ekong is a leader in that team. He's one of the leaders. He made mistakes. South Africa, they pass better than us. We cannot do it. We cannot pass 6 passes or 7 passes. When we pass the ball a bit, then we kick it long. We want to build a team. We cannot build a team like this where we don't play as a team. You don't play. It's individual football we play. We want Lukman to make magic. We want Osimhen to make magic.
Nigeria's under-20 boys, the Flying Eagles, have stepped up their preparations for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup Chile 2025 with an intensive training session. The team, under the guidance of head coach Aliou Zubeiru, trained for 2 hours at the Cancha Liga training pitch. The session came after a light recovery exercise earlier in the day at the Advance Le Meridian Hotel to help the players regain sharpness following their arrival in Chile. The Flying Eagles will continue their build-up before turning their focus to a high-profile friendly against host Chile Under-20 on Saturday, 20th September at the Estadio Nacional in Santiago. The encounter will provide Zubeiru and his coaching staff with a good measure of the team's progress as the first one of South America's strongest youth side. Beyond the Chile game, the Flying Eagles will also test themselves against Australia Under-20 on Tuesday, 23rd September. For Nigeria, these friendlies are about more than results. With the World Cup in sight, the Flying Eagles are determined to use their time in Santiago to build confidence, cohesion, and momentum. Despite global successes at Under-20, Under-17, and Olympic Under-23 levels, Nigeria have never won the Under-20 World Cup despite having appeared at 11 previous tournaments. Ghana remains the only African side to win the Under-20 World Cup when they beat Brazil on penalties in the 2009 final in Egypt. Head coach Aliou Zubeiru said that he's not under pressure to become the first coach to win the Under-20 World Cup for Nigeria. Coach Aliou Zubeiru speaks.
No coaching that doesn't go with pressure. It's just a challenge. And the challenge is the target you set for yourself is what is going to challenge you. So we set a target, and the boys fully understand the target, and we are working towards it. Of course, it will be good if Nigeria can meet up with Ghana's record. Because before they won that trophy 2009 in Egypt, Nigeria has been the one that had the best record in Under-20 by reaching the finals twice. And eventually, when they came, they surpassed our record. So why not? If we can work towards meeting up what Ghana has done is still in line. But I don't see it as pressure. It's a challenge, and we are working towards it.
And from there, we will go into continental matches in Africa. And we tell you that Nigeria's Remo Stars have confirmed ticketing details for the highly anticipated CAF Champions League preliminary round home fixture against US Zilmaju of Comoros Islands on Sunday. The club revealed that the VIP tickets will go on sale at the stadium in Abeokuta on match day for 5,000 naira, while regular entry will be free of charge. The gesture is aimed at encouraging strong home support as the Sky Blue Stars embark on their fourth consecutive continental campaign. The match is scheduled at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena. Kwara United begin their quest for continental relevance this weekend with a daunting trip to Kumasi, where Ghanaian giants Ashanti Kotoko are waiting the CAF Confederation Cup 2025-26 preliminary round. CAF has listed this game as a standard fixture and a meeting of proud West African clubs with noisy traveling supporters. For Kwara United, it represents both a challenge and an opportunity to plant their flag firmly on Africa's football map. Kotoko, twice winners of the African Cup Champions Club, on the continental stage seeking to restore their fading reputation. Also, Abia Warriors also carry Nigeria's flag, making their debut in Ouagadougou against Burkina Faso's USFA. Both sides know Joliba AC of Mali lie in wait in the next round. Across the continent, 26 fixtures mark the start of a campaign that will stretch into 2026, with teams eyeing not only survival but also the prestige and financial rewards of group stage qualification. And before we go, let's talk table tennis to tell you that following his last outing at the 2023 ITTF World Championships in Durban, South Africa, Taiwo Mati makes a return to Nigeria's national team as the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation, NTTF, announces a 10-man squad for the 2025 ITTF African Championships scheduled to take place in Tunisia from October 12th to 19th. The continental event serves as a qualifier for the 2026 ITTF World Team Championships in London, United Kingdom, a landmark edition marking the centenary of the World Championships, which will return to the city where it all began in 1926. Matthew, who plays professionally in Europe, ended his sport after a strong performance at the 2025 West Regional Championships, where he finished among the top four, edging out Muiz Adegoke. He joins a formidable lineup that includes Africa's top-ranked player, Kodre Arna, 2019 African Games gold medalist, Olajide Omotayo, two-time West African champion, Matthew Kuti, and rising talent, Abdul Basit Abdul Fatai. Despite being one of Africa's standout performers at Durban 2023, Matthew had been absent from the national team for 2 years. His semi-final finish at the regional tournament in Lagos last July marked a successful comeback for the left-handed star. The women's team features promising young players, including Favour Ojo, Aishat Rabiu, Kabirat Ayola, and Sukurat Ayebaga. Veteran Ajoke Ojomu will lead the squad as captain in Tunis. Top-performing teams in both the men's and women's categories will end qualification for London 2026, the sport's most prestigious stage. In the men's division, Nigeria and Egypt lead a competitive field that includes Tunisia, Algeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Madagascar, Uganda, Ethiopia, South Africa, Angola, Cameroon, Congo-Brazzaville, Benin Republic, DR Congo, and Morocco. The women's competition will feature Egypt, Nigeria, Benin Republic, Ghana, Ethiopia, Botswana, Cote d'Ivoire, Uganda, Madagascar, DR Congo, Cameroon, South Africa, Angola, Algeria, and host nation, Tunisia. And that's the size of Sports Roundup. For Channel Africa Sports, Tunubane reporting from Lagos, Nigeria.
You like what we do on Channel Africa? Then follow us on our socials. Channel Africa 1 on all social pages. And get the African perspective.
16:02 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We've officially entered into the third and final hour of Africa at Play. We will be talking to Tony Tonero-Bani, our correspondent from West Africa in Lagos, Nigeria, about all things Nigerian sport and West African sport. And we'll continue to update you on different matches taking place on the African continent and globally. If you are a fan of English football, matches are ongoing, and West Ham United still 0-0 up against Crystal Palace, while Brighton and Hove Albion also sitting on 0-0. Burnley and Nottingham Forest, the Tricky Trees, also 0-0. The match between Liverpool and Everton ended in favour of Liverpool beating Everton by 2-1. There's more matches taking place. Manchester United will be up against Chelsea at 18:30 Central African Time, while Fulham takes on Brentford at 2100 Central African Time. Let's also update you on the CAF Champions League matches that are taking place on the African continent. There's matches taking place in different parts of the continent. We've got a match between Power Dynamos and ASEC Mimosa, where Power Dynamos is leading in that match by 1-0. And there's matches between JSK up against Rivers United, kicking off at 16:30 Central African Time. Bibiani Gold Stars up against JS Kabile at 1700 Central African Time. Rahimo up against Manga Sport at 1800 Central African Time. Fasel takes on MC Alger of Algeria at the same time. Gaborone United, our neighbors in Southern Africa, takes on Simba Sports Club of Tanzania, and that match is at 7 p.m. Central African Time. Al Hilal Benghazi is up against Horoya at 19:30, while El Jeco Plus takes on Silver Strikers, and that match is taking place tomorrow. Let's now welcome to Africa at Play Tony Tonero-Bani, our correspondent based in West Africa. So, Ubani, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Hey, good afternoon, the Velvet Voice of Africa.
Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. So, Ubani, you must be a happy man to hear that Nigerian soccer fans are reacting to FIFA after serving SAFA notice on deduction of points. It looks like we've lost that line from Tony Tonero-Bani, that line from West Africa. But nevertheless, we will try and establish a better line with my producer, Andisiwe Fakimali Uzobona Mali. Let's update you on different matches that are taking place in the CAF Confederation Cup. That is the matches that are taking place in different parts of the African continent. We've got a match between Al Hilal Wad Madani up against AS Sahel, and we also have Kaizer Chiefs up against Kabuskop. That match kicking off at 5 p.m. Central African Time. FC 105 up against Zesco United of Zambia, and Al Merrikh up against Azam. That match kicking off at 4 p.m. Central African Time. There's also Fambludi Center up against Al Akda, as well as Young Africans up against Royal Leopards. And in the CAF Champions League, Orlando Pirates is up against Diodi FC of Lesotho. We've re-established a line with Tony Tonero-Bani from West Africa. Apologies about that cutoff. So, Bani, good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah, thank you so much, the Velvet Voice. I'm sorry about the line that went off. Yes, you asked me about reactions of Nigerians here. Indeed, so many people. It's been a lot of confusion, and of course, some people celebrating already. People are happy that at least finally, the World Soccer Governing Body, people had written SAFA, with connection to Mokene's ineligibility in the match against Lesotho. And I must say, that as much as people are talking, and then a lot of calculations, permutations on how Nigeria will catch up and overtake Bafana, it's pretty confusing, I must say, that there are also so many Nigerians here who have already made up their mind that despite no matter what you do, that there is no way the Super Eagles are going to qualify, because the calculations, if FIFA deserves the 3 points and 3 goals from South Africa, Bafana will still be ahead, and indeed Nigeria will still be trailing. I think it is the squirrels of Republic of Benin, that will be breathing down on South Africa. What it means from calculations out here in Nigeria is everybody is talking, banking on if if the Super Eagles win their 2 remaining matches, just as much as everybody is talking about that, we are also looking at the possibility, what if Bafana also win their 2 remaining matches? If Squirrels of the Republic of Benin win their 2 remaining matches. So the possibilities, they are very, very slim, to South Africa. Psychologically, perhaps it will be weighing South Africa down. But indeed, the chances of Nigeria is still very, very slim, because Nigeria, will also be playing one home away and one away, just as South Africa will also play one home away and another one home. But I think what so many people are talking here is that the dominance of South Africa playing nearly all their 2026 World Cup qualifying matches on home soil has been disrupted following the dramatic announcement by the Zimbabwe Football Association, that they will be moving over to Botswana. That match now is scheduled for October 10, 2025 at the Obede-Tane Chilemu Stadium in Francistown. And that's, of course, where so many people are feeling that there is an advantage, because out here it's been written off. Everybody feels that if they play the game against Zimbabwe at home, playing away, that will be an advantage to South Africa. So I guess that's where the hope is rising, and everybody is feeling blue that indeed Nigeria have gotten a very beautiful chance for them to come back and then qualify for the World Cup. But as it is, it's a very, very, tight thing to call, and I feel that the chances of South Africa going to the World Cup is in their own hands, and I believe that perhaps they will take the best opportunity of seeing that they put the 2 remaining matches to sword and, of course, qualify with or without FIFA's hammer falling on them. Neto?
16:09 Central African Time. We are talking to our correspondent based in West Africa, in Lagos, Nigeria, Tony Tonero Ubani, talking all things on Nigerian and African sport. So, Ubani, please do stay on the line. We take a short break. We'll be back more with all things Nigerian sport.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Where champions rise and legends are made. Join Neto Chemane on Africa at Play, only on Channel Africa.
16:10 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, this is Africa at Play. As Delil Siashaya, a very warm welcome. We are still in a conversation with our West African correspondent based in Lagos, Nigeria, Tony Tonero Ubani. So, Ubani, let's also move into the world of athletics, where Nathaniel sets a new Nigerian 400 meters hurdles record, finishing 4th in Tokyo at the ongoing World Athletics Championships.
Yes, indeed, Neto. That is record 47.11 seconds. It's they talk about here in Nigeria. Nathaniel, have been celebrating, after crossing the tape, given that he has gotten a bronze medal, after American Benjamin, the initial winner, was disqualified for a lane infringement. However, after an appeal, Benjamin's result was reinstated, returning him to the summit, and indeed that's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. And of course, Nathaniel could not in any way get a medal, but everybody is celebrating, that however, that Nathaniel's 47.11 seconds was just 0.05 seconds shy of Qatar's Abdurrahman Samba, who denied him of the bronze medal. The 21-year-old's performance definitely will cement his place among the world's elite hurdles and set a new benchmark for Nigerian athletics, offering hope for a future global podium finish. And indeed, Nigeria has still been with only one silver medal, and that silver medal has been aptly tagged a gold and silver. Things like this can only happen in Nigeria when the administrators also want to justify everything. And remember, on this station, we talked so much about the distraction that cost the world record holder, Toby Amuson, the opportunity of getting a gold medal, and that had to be done, through the kids' distractions, and of course engagement by the Athletics Federation of Nigeria President Tony Ogowa, who engaged her in a verbal assault, sort of, and of course so many Nigerians have been so livid about that. But that being done, everybody expected that Nathaniel is going to come up with something that will place him on the podium. The young man absolutely tried everything he did, and of course, because of what happened, of course, he could not get to the podium. So as it is, as the World Championship rounds up, Nigeria is still, just with a medal, and that's silver, which I tell you that they have aptly captioned gold and silver, Neto.
Nigeria also received the Commonwealth Sport Bid Evaluation Committee insisting Nigeria is ready to host. Please tell us more, Seubani.
Yeah, the chances of Nigeria, took a significant step towards hosting the 2030 Commonwealth Games. We saw them, they received the Commonwealth Sport Bid Evaluation Committee to Abuja, and President Bola Tinubu, represented by his Chief of Staff, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, formally received the delegation at the President's Villa. Tinubu reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to hosting an inclusive, diverse, and world-class 2030 Commonwealth Games on African soil. Gbajabiamila and a strong federal government team of ministers and senior government officials held strategic talks with the delegation led by Darren Hall, Director of Games and Assurance at Commonwealth Sports and a member of the 2030 Evaluation Committee. President Tinubu emphasized that the Commonwealth champions' unity and diversity, and Africa deserves its moment after nearly a century. Africa has never hosted a game since their inception in 1930. Nigeria made an unsuccessful bid to host the 2014 Games. The city of Durban, as you remember, also, contested to bid to host the 2022 Games. They could not do so. And indeed, almost everybody is saying that this is a time for Africa. As we speak, it is only Nigeria and India that are in the fray. But of course, sources also say that because the time for other countries to join in bidding has not closed, it lands also that South Africa might also be coming into, trying to see if they could host, as well as Morocco is equally contemplating hosting. But as it is now, Nigeria and India are the two countries that are almost sure that their bids have been confirmed, that they will go through the bidding process, Neto.
16:15 Central African Time. We are wrapping up our conversation with Tony Tonero Ubani, our West African correspondent based in Lagos, Nigeria. So Ubani, Basa legends and African legends to rumble in Abuja to raise awareness of empowerment of a girl child.
Yeah, Abuja is set to witness a historic football spectacle as the Atom Foundation brings together Baka legends and the African legends in a match dedicated to raising awareness for the empowerment of the girl child. The highly anticipated Champions Cup game will take place on Saturday, October 25th, 2025 at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium. We kick off scheduled for 3 p.m. Nigerian time. The Baka legends will parade global stars including Ronaldinho, Ludovic Gulli, Javier Saviola, Jesus Agui, Samuel Okunowo, Mark Valiente, and Fernando Navarro. On the opposite side, the African legends will showcase the brilliance of some of the continent's greatest football heroes, led by JJ Okocha, Nwankwo Kanu, Alex Song, and Mark Fish, with more names expected to be unveiled in the coming weeks. The event promises to be more than just a football match. It will be a celebration of sport, unity, and purpose, with proceeds directed towards initiatives that will support and empower the girl child Neto.
Tony Tonero Bani is our correspondent based in West Africa in Lagos, Nigeria. So, Bani, thank you so much for updating us on all things Nigerian sport. Looking forward to that big occasion between Basa legends and African legends. And you'll never have a dull moment when the legends go back to the field of play. And I always say to them, you retire from professional football today. That does not mean you've retired, because a day later you'll be back on the field, either coaching or playing legendary matches. Thank you so much and all the best moving forward.
Thanks indeed, Neto.
16:18 Central African Time. That was Tony Tonero Bani talking to us about the latest in Nigerian sport. We will be talking to a journalism lecturer and a sport journalist from Ghana who is Kale Tufuo, to talk all things the World Athletics Championships. That conversation will be happening after this short break.
Madapiri pazoshitika. Madapiri pazoshitika.
Boma la dziko la South Sudan alengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa mtsogoleri wa dzikolo Riek Machar akuyenera kuyankha mlandu ofuna kulanda dziko, wakupha komanso okonza ziwawa. Ndipo mtolankhani wathu nkummawa kwa Africa Fraser Onene akuwunikirapo.
Muchikalata chomwe chinalengezedwa ndi nduna yoona zamalamulo komanso chilungamo ya dziko la South Sudan, chikalatachi chinalengeza kuti wachiwiri kwa president wa dzikolo Riek Machar apezeka ndi milandu yokupha, yofuna kuwukira boma komanso kulanda dziko ndi kuyambitsa ziwawa. Riek Machar akhala akusungidwa mokakamizidwa ku nyumba kwawo kuyambira mwezi wa Marichi chaka chino. Mwezi wa Marichiwu, asilikali omwe mbuyomu anali mgulu lomwe limagwira ntchito limodzi ndi Machar anamenyana ndi asilikali a boma a South Sudan Defense Forces SPDF mu chigawo cha White Nile dziko.
Zochitika pa nthawi ya 6 koloko kufikira 7 koloko madzulo, lolemba mpaka lachisanu ndi Madapiri.
Bini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Hifadhi kubwa ya dhahabu, madini adimu na madini ya msingi yameweza kugunduliwa katika wilaya ya Luamo na eneo pana la Karamoja. Hii taarifa ikoje?
Ni kweli ni kwamba uchunguzi ulifanywa kwa muda wa miaka 5 na ugunduzi ni kwamba umeweza kupelekea nchi kupata ufanisi mkubwa hasa katika utajiri wa madini hapa nchini Uganda.
Tumekuwa tuna madini katika bara la Afrika, lakini yamekuwa madini haya hayatunufaishi au kutusaidia kwa namna moja ama nyingine, na tumeendelea kuwa maskini. Unadhani nini kifanyike?
Kubwa katika yote ni kwamba serikali inatakiwa kutoa mkakati mzuri utakaoweza kuwanufaisha kwanza raia wake.
Darubini ya Afrika kila Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa kuanzia saa 11 kamili hadi saa 12 kamili jioni majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
16:21 Central African Time. A very warm welcome if you have just joined us. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628 if you are based in South Africa. Alternatively, you can reach us from any corner of the world on channelafrica.co.za. Also available at your fingertips on SABC+. As we welcome to the conversation Kale Tufuo, who is a Ghanaian sport journalist and journalism lecturer based in the USA. Kale, a very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Well, I would say good morning to you. Thank you very much.
It's interesting that on your side of the world, it is good morning, and where we are, it's good afternoon. It is interesting just how the landscape of the world is. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. Let's talk about the World Athletics Championships currently ongoing in Tokyo, Japan, concluding tomorrow with the finals. What have you witnessed so far?
I didn't get the last part. You said...
I was saying the World Athletics Championships taking place in Tokyo, Japan. What have you witnessed in terms of action that has been currently ongoing in this 9-day World Championships concluding tomorrow?
Well, the first thing probably is the emergence of Botswana as a serious track and field nation, as they say in this part of the world. And I think there's a slight change in the world order. When I say slight change, obviously the United States is still the major power, but there are nations now beginning to revive themselves, and particularly Kenya, really surprised. And I don't know if you've noticed, all the medals that have been won by Kenya are by the ladies and not by the men. Question now is what's happening? So I think we need to take a look at those two things from the African perspective, the emergence of Botswana, and then obviously the Kenyan ladies really, really excelling.
And Sakal, to that point, ladies will always tell you that whatever a man can do, women can do even better. And it's heartwarming to see that female athletes are coming out tops in their performances. And this goes to show that if they continue with that momentum, perhaps in the near future, we can open up a conversation of equality in remuneration, because this has been a long-lasting conversation. But there's always that scenario where historically most of the sporting codes have been dominated by their male counterparts, and for some reason the world is moving too slow towards that equal pay.
Possible, but obviously there's also one thing in life, and life goes around in cycles and seasons. And if you really look at it critically, maybe there's the time for the ladies. Next time it could be the men. Another time it will be the ladies. But yes, it is interesting and it's very, very intriguing. Then again, to another little I also forgot, and I want to be a bit biased here, is that Ghana actually being first in their 4x100 heats relay and breaking the national record. And with the not disqualification, but did not finish from the likes of the Jamaicans and the UK, Ghana probably stands a major chance of winning a medal in its first global relay.
And Mr. Kal, this is also good to see that, there's something in there for your native country, Ghana. And my next point was going to be, what is the state of athletics in Ghana as we speak? Because it would be great to get to a level that where you witness Ghana, participating in various disciplines, but not just adding numbers, but participating to target those podium finishes.
I'll tell you one thing. There's one theme that runs throughout West Africa. And in West Africa, the problem has to do with the fact that everybody seems to be only interested in football, or at least most of the funding going to football. That's the problem that athletics or track and fields has in Ghana. And the same applies to Nigeria as well. Every effort, I don't know whether it's because of the returns, because obviously when you do track and fields, when you do athletics, you don't exactly get a lot of sponsors, so you don't get too much returns. And obviously the World Cup, you go in and you just go through the group stages and you're ending up with what, 20 million US dollars. So maybe there's work on us as PR practitioners, as media people, to start increasing the profile of athletics, track and fields in Ghana, in West Africa, and then hope that the athletes do the business, and that's where we'll probably get in sponsorship, as well as people who would now begin to look for ways and means to get themselves attached to the quotation mark success of these athletes.
If you have just joined us, we're talking all things World Athletics Championships with a Ghanaian sports journalist who is also a journalism lecturer based in the United States of America, Carl Tufua. So Tufua, you've raised an interesting point about, the mentality in West Africa when it comes to other sporting codes versus the obvious case being football. We know historically, even in 2010, when South Africa were shown the exit door in the group stages of the FIFA World Cup, we saw Ghana coming on board to represent the African continent very well, making it to the quarterfinals. A slight miss with, missing that penalty, Asamoah Gyan, a penalty that could have taken Ghana to the semi-finals of the World Cup, and that could have been historic because it would have been the first African country to get to that level, and now Morocco has overtaken them with the Qatar 2022 World Cup finishing in the semi-finals bracket. But let's talk about one thing here. They say there's nothing wrong with copying, provided you copy a good thing. You've got East African nations, the likes of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Uganda, that are showing dominance when it comes to long distance events, when it comes to the umbrella of athletics. What is stopping West African countries like Ghana, Nigeria, and other West African countries to copy from the likes of East African countries?
Investments. Now, let's start from the beginning. When you take a look at the West African nations, if you take a look at the history, they've been strong in the sprints. And when we talk about sprints, we're talking about the 100 to the 400 meters, okay? When it gets to middle distance and long distance, it tends to be the East Africans, okay? Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and the new countries that have emerged out of Sudan and Ethiopia, okay? So those tend to be your strengths. Now, if you look at it critically, with all due respect to you, would you prefer your son, your daughter, to play football and go get the riches in Europe and the Americas if it's a lady? Or would you prefer your son to do track and fields, end up in the United States, get a scholarship, run, and when the university season is over, the person is dormant? That's the thing we've got to break. We've got to break that mold. The sprinters have always been West Africans. We all know that. Maybe government needs to come in and start money like back in the day when obviously there was no, it wasn't like professionals as it were. But the world has moved on. You've got to find new ideas to unearth some of these talents. And ironically, if you talk about East Africans, when you go to the Ethiopians, they've had a wretched tournament. They virtually won nothing. And that means that they would also have to go back to the drawing board and start looking at it again. That's where they're divided. If you remember, in the 80s and 90s, the middle distance, the 800, the 1500, at least with the male, was something that was a domain of the North Africans. They've gone off. We don't see Moroccans, we don't see Algerians, we don't see them dominating like the way they come El Grouche, Noureddin Morsili, Said Awita, but really, really running and getting gold medals for Africa. So we need to look at it from all perspectives. And of course, if you come to the southern part of the continent, they have a motley of quote sprinters, and now Botswana, Namibia, in the time gone by, and probably now, they're now beginning to urge. South Africa is the interesting one. I mean, with Nene anchoring the 4x100, 4x400, sorry, tomorrow, I suspect very much that South Africa could get a gold medal, regardless of the strength of Botswana. And so each country needs to look at its strengths and weaknesses and focus on unearthing more talent, but more importantly, invest in there.
And Sekal, let's also talk about administrators on the African continent across different sporting codes. To your question about taking your son or daughter to play football and go abroad and get riches out of playing football, of course, a lot of parents will go with that option, but there's always those kids that naturally would go the direction of athletics, and it then becomes a sad story if they are in it for the purpose of just participating, but not so much creating a career path in it. Not so long ago, I was speaking to the president of Swim in South Africa, and he was already talking about Los Angeles Olympics in 2028, Brisbane Olympics in 2032. And that goes to show that prior proper planning prevents poor, pitiful performance. So if the administrators, when it comes to the world of athletics, are not pulling in the right direction in making certain that they create a good vibe around athletics so that those that are in the umbrella of athletics can be comfortable and be assured that they stand a good chance to have good careers in athletics. Do we have good administrators in athletics across the continent?
Neto, I'll answer that question by saying that, look, it's a case of a chicken and egg, which this chicken and egg situation, which one came first? See, track and fields, whether we like it or not, athletics, it's not as popular as it used to be. And for an administrator to get up and go to the ministry and bring forth a budget, this is what I think I can do, this is what I think I can do, and whatnot. They normally get the response, justify it first before you bring this. So, do you deliver and then go and ask for it? Or do you ask for it and then deliver? That's the situation that many administrators find themselves, particularly on the African continent. Listen, even where I am right now in the US, track and field is virtually dying. Michael Jones' league, whatever it was called, that was done this year. You know, he's seriously in debt. And that's why he was not able to do the BBC coverage of the ongoing World Athletic Championship. Track and field needs to look at itself. World athletics as a body needs to look at itself again and find ways and means of breaking it out. And hopefully the federations under it will begin to also thrive on those.
Incredible conversation indeed. Sakal Tufo, I want to continue, but the clock keeps saying no. Thank you so much for your contribution to Africa at Play. We continue to rally behind Africa, and we say let Africa continue to mint those podium finishes. Thank you so much for your time, and all the best moving forward.
The pleasure is mine, and it's great being with you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. 16:33 Central African Time. Ekal Tufo is a renowned Ghanaian sport journalist, and he's also a journalism lecturer based in the United States of America. Let's now go to Lusaka, Zambia, where we want to find out from our correspondent, Namuchana, who's having a conversation with the football pundits on all things our topic of the day. And remember to drop us your thoughts on our WhatsApp voice number, that is +27 63 406 9126.
National teams and football clubs often rely on a well-known sport kit brands for outfit sponsorships, as opposed to designing their own uniforms that can be beneficial to clubs or football associations through sales or merchandise to the fans. The Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, implemented their own brand called Copa for national teams. However, with the change of management at the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ is likely to return to traditional kit sponsors. We are asking, why can't football clubs and football FAs design and produce their own training and playing gear to benefit from the sales to fans? I have with me soccer expert Isaac Chipatanga. Isaac, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to Channel Africa. We are looking at sports kits, and we are asking, why can't football clubs and football FAs design and produce their own training playing gear to benefit from sales to fans? What are your views, Isaac?
I think the biggest and most important thing when football association is deciding on whether to have an established brand names such as Adidas, Nike or Puma, for instance, or to create their own, is first and foremost to look at the market and do a market research in terms of the fan base and other stakeholders, how well they are likely to receive a brand that is owned by the local football association. After that is established, if interest is there, I think there are many benefits that can be derived from having a brand that is owned by the football association itself. First and foremost, it gives the football association a sense of national pride and identity, and that, I think, is very, very important, especially in this day and age where footballers earn a lot of money and don't play for the national colors. Having that really gives the sense for the players themselves that they're playing for the national colors, and it's the highest honor that a player can have, to don the national colors and represent their country with pride and honor. Secondly, I think it gives freedom or liberty to the football association or club in this particular instance to have considerable revenue streams, whether this is through sales of the jerseys itself, because then it doesn't have to share with other parties. For instance, if you have a Nike deal or an Adidas deal as a football association selling jerseys for the national team, what basically it means is that you get only a fraction of the percentage of the sales from the sale of the shirt itself. So this may vary. So say, for instance, if Zambia is kitted by Nike, for instance, if they sell a jersey at say 700 kwacha, the local currency, currency. Maybe from the profits, let's say the profit is, let's say, 200 kwacha, because to manufacture a jersey, and obviously you factor in costs for it to be brought back into Zambia and all the taxes that are levied on it. Probably it comes to 500 kwacha. From that 200 kwacha, probably get maybe, let's say, 20%, which is 40 kwacha. And then the rest of the money, the 160 kwacha, goes to Nike, who are the kit provider. In this particular case, if a football association does have, its own brand, what it basically means is that it will get the 200 kwacha, which is the profit, entirely to itself. So it means a little bit more revenue for the football association. And as you know, for football to be developed across the continent, what is needed is the necessary finances, whether it's to put into infrastructure or youth, policy in terms of to develop the next stars and so on and so forth. So considerable, advantages from that perspective from a football association. But one of the major negatives, I know that a lot of people want to dwell on the positives that the FA can derive from having its own, brand, is the fact that, they are already established brands like Nike, like Puma, like Adidas, and so on and so forth already in the market. So starting your own brand means that you have to start from scratch. And that could potentially be a problem because established brands are already out there. And also another thing is the quality of the product that you can produce. Everybody will be comparing it against the already established brands in terms of the quality of the fabric that is used. And now there's so much that is going into the thinking of the designs, for instance, of the jerseys. But not only that, also how it holds up in different weather conditions. Sometimes you've got, conditions across the African continent, for instance, when you're playing a Nations Cup qualifier along the equator, for instance, where first half can easily be sunny and the second half can easily be a downpour of rain. So how does the jersey really hold up? So all those things are some of the pros and cons, in my opinion, that football associations need to consider when they're coming up with their own brand. So all in all, I think it's safe to say that their advantages outweigh the disadvantages. And football associations need to think outside of the box, because the considerable exposure that, the brand will get in an event that the football association has teams that qualify to, for instance, the World Cup or the Africa Cup of Nations. I mean, let's talk about the Africa Cup of Nations, for instance. If the Nations Cup is being broadcast, let's say, by SuperSport to maybe, let's say, 46 countries in Africa and outside of Africa, the last time I checked the reach of SuperSport, it means that that brand suddenly is being seen across the African continent, in some parts of Asia, in some parts of, Europe, and so on and so forth. So now suddenly that brand can grow and can tap into that extra exposure that, comes with cast rights for the competitions such as the Nations Cup. You can imagine if, the team qualifies in its own kitted brand and gets to the World Cup, that exposure maybe even triples or even quadruples. So if you look at it from that perspective, that also means that if, say, for instance, the Football Association of Zambia keeps up having this copper brand and they keep on qualifying to these major tournaments, there are other, football associations that potentially could want to even, want to be supplied by the Football Association of Zambia and get kitted. That means extra revenue, because imagine, let's say, Botswana doesn't have a kit sponsorship, and suddenly, because of the success of the Zambian teams and the brand improving in terms of quality, suddenly Botswana want to get kitted. It means that obviously, as the Football Association of Zambia, you make a kit in the copper brand, for instance, and then, engage with another football association like Botswana, as we're given an example. And then obviously that comes with extra revenue for the football association. If the demand is so great that, fans for Botswana want to buy that kit, it also means more revenue and sales and profits for the football association. So yeah, I think there's a considerable opportunity that football associations are not using and that they can exploit by coming up with their own brand. And I think Zambia is a good case. I hear that potentially the new executive in this country is probably thinking about, shelving, the copper brand. And my earnest appeal to them would be to rethink this particular strategy, because as I earlier indicated, I truly believe a football association or a club in this regard having its own brand really will resonate with its fans base, will give it a sense of an identity, but also I think has got multiple revenue streams that can, be the lifeline of many football clubs as well as football associations, and that extra revenue can allow it, to grow even further and thus have greater success, not just off the field, but indeed on the field of play.
The views of Isaac Chipatanga, soccer expert. I have also with me Wezi Mazunda. Wezi, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to Channel Africa. Wezi, we are looking at something that is very interesting. We are looking at sports kits in sports, and we are asking why can't football clubs and their FAs design and produce their own training and playing gear to benefit sales to fans? What are your views?
I want to believe they are comfortable comfortable with what they have because this needs to be a well thought out plan that you need to sit down and look at and see the benefits of how much revenue it's going to bring to your club. So maybe if some FAs and clubs sit down and weigh the costs, they feel they're more comfortable having dwell on kit sponsorships, maybe an outside kit sponsor that brings in revenue from there because of them wearing that label and being able to market it in the various leagues that they play and international matches and everything else. I'm sure it's a very costly venture. It's not something that you wake up and do, but it's something that you have to really sit down and plan properly. Yes, we have the Copa in Zambia that has been doing very well. There've been some suggestions. Some have liked the jersey, others have not liked how it has been. It transformed. Maybe the first jersey that came was not liked. Then eventually the others that have come are more acceptable and adaptable and more comfortable. You know, when you sweat, you don't get to feel uncomfortable and everything. Others were calling the old kit like plastic and all, but it's improving over time. So it takes time, really. It's really something that you sit down and you look at and you factor in. And then you also obviously have to see who's going to buy. You have to study your market. Obviously, the people who are going to buy, that's your fan base. You have to study them and see how well the sales can do. Are they going to be able to afford it? Like I like to say, the economy now is hard, so you really have to see how your diehard fans are doing. So you sit down and you see whether people are really have accepted it, are able to buy it easily, you know, or you're making losses. Some want to get them free of charge, which is not fair because there's a cost in making and transporting, designing and everything. There's a cost to everything that comes in, and it has to be a win-win situation all around. But all in all, it's not something that's very easy. It's a good thing to buy into. Obviously, planning has to go into it. See the revenues that you can make, how much money you can make. Make sure the product is going to be a quality product. When you look at it, you want to have it. It's something that looks good, feels good. When you wear it, you're proud of it. The colors are great, come out okay. It's something that screams success and victory and taking charge. You know, it's something that's very good. So you don't just think about it and get to do it there and then. So it's planning over time. So I'm sure with the wins, if they can be able to get to see the success of what the Zambian Copa kit has done for Zambia, it's where they sent all out there and seeing the how it's benefited and profited Zambian game through the FA. Since the national teams get to wear them, how great the sales are. I think it will be able to inspire other FAs and clubs really to think in that direction. But it's a good direction to think into, very good business venture, and it could bring in a lot of good revenue for the FA, respective FAs and respective football clubs. African football must make money. African football needs to make money. It needs to be very economically viable, so that's a good business brand. It's a good business deal. You go out there talking about kid sponsorship, your own kid sponsorship, being proud of it, owning it. I think it's going to be something that's very inspiring to African football.
Wesley, thank you so much for having taken time to join us on Channel Africa.
Thank you very much.
The views of Wesley Mazonda on our topic today. We were looking at something that has to do with the sports kit. National teams and football clubs often rely on a well-known sports kit brands for outfit sponsorship, as opposed to designing their own uniforms that can be beneficial to clubs or football associations through sales and merchandise to fans. The Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, implemented their own brand called Copa for national teams. However, with the change of management at FAZ is likely to return to traditional kit sponsors. We were asking, why can't football clubs and FA design and produce their own training and playing gear to benefit from the sales to fans? We had the Isaac Chipatanga, soccer expert, and Wesley Mazonda, soccer analyst for Channel Africa Sports. Namchana from Zambia.
16:46 Central African Time. Thank you to Namuchana and the football pundits to help us unpack our topic of the day. Before Africa's Velvet Voice says goodbye, there's another African gentleman coming your way, Jolene Nsungu with Mix Vibration. Bonjour.
Bonjour Neto, et bien aujourd'hui sur Mix Vibration, nous continuons à célébrer l'héritage africain, comme vous pouvez le constater. Je suis avec l'accoutrement africain. Eh bien on va continuer à célébrer cet héritage, parler de beaucoup de musique. Nous aurons un invité, c'est Carlos Nzuji, qui lui est un ancien producteur et musicien. Et avec lui, on va, n'est-ce pas, parler de l'héritage africain avec de la bonne musique. Merci.
Merci. 16:46 Central African Time. A warm welcome to Africa at Play. If you have just joined us, it is time for an awesome sound of African music. That is Sasha saying Ndawana featuring Kelvin Momo. Voice notes coming up next after this musical sound.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
(16:48) Central African Time. We've got voice notes on our topic of the day, where we're asking why can't football clubs and football associations design and produce their own training and playing gear to benefit from sales to fans. We've got some voice notes. Let's take Muzinduku from Eastern Cape.
Good day, South Africa. Good day, Africa. I'm Muzindugu from Eastern Cape in South Africa. I think it's not only the sport only. Us as Africans, we have all the resources we need, but we are always want our development to be a top-down approach, not a bottom-up approach. I think if we can think about ABCD, which is the asset-based community development, this is where Africa can become rich, because I will make an example, like where I stay, we have like a guava trees that is grown up, no one like is planting them. But instead of us producing our guava juice, we're still going to Spar and ShopRite to buy the guava juice. Meanwhile, like the main ingredients for guava juice is within our community. So I think if like the clubs, the national teams can produce what is theirs instead of relying on the sponsorship, because the sponsorship, once they don't get sales, they will leave the club or even like the national team. So I think it's high time like to think locally. To think locally. Meanwhile, we are focusing on a global, so that us we can export, not always importing like the resources. I thank you.
Muzinduku sharing his thoughts on our topic of the day. We've got another voice note from Eric Lechweleng, a football commentator.
Good afternoon, Africa at Play. I think one of the reasons why can't football clubs and FA design and produce their own training and playing gear, it's based on the fact that the quality and expertise, establishment brands like your Nike, Adidas, or Puma bring high quality materials, design expertise, and manufacturing capabilities. This is to ensure that GA meets professional standards for performances and durabilities.
Another voice note coming up from Boipelo Serralo, all the way from the west of Johannesburg in Kagiso.
My name is Boipelo, and you know, Neto, it's a very serious issue. There are a lot of good African designers out there, a lot, and we presume that it's okay to, just because it's a Nike or an Adidas logo on the jersey, that no, it's perfect. It's what it should be. And I guess also people are afraid of change.
16:52 Central African Time. It's time for sports news. Starting off with netball news. The Zambia under-21 netball team's failure to travel to Gibraltar on time has resulted in the team forfeiting its first game. According to a statement released to the press by World Netball, Zambia and Sri Lanka have been docked points due to non-arrival of the two teams at the ongoing Youth Netball World Cup. Zambia was scheduled to play New Zealand in the first game in Pool A, while Sri Lanka was supposed to have taken on England in Pool C. Zambia, alongside South Africa and Malawi, worked hard to qualify for the World Cup, representing Africa in the process. World Netball and Netball Youth World Cup said they will continue to monitor the situation regarding the absence of Zambia and Sri Lanka in this year's tournament. It is understood visa issues have contributed to the team's delayed departure for Gibraltar. Efforts to get a comment from Zambia Netball Association President Martha Sichone proved futile by press time. Let's move on to football news. Kaizer Motaung Jr. is excited about the Chiefs' return to the continental stage and targets consistency. Kaizer Chiefs make their return to continental football today when they play the CAF Confederation preliminary round first leg match against Angolan Jarabola side Kabuskop, and the club's sporting director Kaizer Chiefs Motaung Jr. says this is the level for them. Amakosi jetted off to Luanda yesterday, led by the two assistant coaches Khalil Ben Youssef and Cedric Kaze, travelling with a 22-man squad. Chiefs' last appearance in the CAF Interclub competitions was 4 years ago, where they finished as runners-up to Al Ahly. Motaung says they want to be regulars at this level.
We've also been very fortunate to build some good relationships on the continent. I think I must give a shout out to the management and the leadership of Petro de Luanda. They've been very, very, very sort of open with welcoming us to the country, allowing us to train at their precinct now when we go over, because there'll be some matches at the stadium, so we'll spend some time there. We've been sharing some great dialogue with their leadership, and I think it forms part of what we want to do moving forward. We have a very clear African strategy, direction, also how we want to go there, and relationships are very important.
Motaung has also shared their plan after they had sent an advance team to make up of the technical staff, analysts and team manager last week to watch an Angolan Super Cup match between Petro and Kabuskop.
I think it's just important for all our supporters and stakeholders to know how important continental football is for us. It's very important. I mean, we're in a continent where there's many challenges that come, especially off the field and logistics-wise. So it was important for us to always have an advanced team that goes, understands, the times, the routes from the airport, the menu that we'll be having, the logistics in terms of traffic, the distances, the hotels we'll be staying at, the pitch we'll be training on. So, so obviously the advanced team, I think it's an important part.
Chiefs captain and Angolan international defender Inácio Miguel also has fond memories of growing up in his home country playing for Pedro. He shares some insight into what kind of team Kabuskop is and their history in the Jarabola, having also had notable guest players such as Brazilian World Cup winning legend Rivaldo and the DRC great Tresor Mputu.
Yeah, so Kabuskop in the previous years, back in the days, it was a massive club, had big names on that club that could make a difference in the league. Most recently, they went to the second division, then they come back again in the past few seasons. I think specifically on this tournament, they for sure they will give their life to go further.
In rugby news, Rob Valetine has been ruled out of Australia's test against New Zealand at Eden Park due to a calf issue, the team said earlier today. Valetine, who won the John Eagles medal as Australia's best test player for the last 2 years, will be replaced by Pete Samu. The 27-year-old has struggled with injury this year and played just one test during the British and Irish Lions series, missing the warm-up match against Fiji due to a calf injury. And finally, in cricket news, Proteas women opener Tasman Brits secured the second highest score for South African women in one of the best ODI knockouts in the women's cricket to help the Proteas women take an unassailable 2-0 series lead against Pakistan in Lahore last night. 16:57 Central African Time. We are saying goodbye as we will be back bright and early tomorrow at 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Central African Time. My name is Neto, Neto Chemane. Hosiati konyangazi mumkha panje kunjani moyani vuguvugu tendele. Thank you to my producer Andisiwe Fakimalu Zobona Mali, our technical operator Tumelo TM Mokwena, as well as Ntlantla Ngcobo on the audiovisual streaming team, including our social media guru Dumiselema. Africa at Play, as Delil Siashaya. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.